Starting the stream.
Start the stream.
This stream has started. Your audience will see this in a moment. Get ready for views, YouTube tells me.
Can I get the
No.
most recent draft?
Nope.
Nope.
1, 2, 3, no. Yeah. I've posted on Patreon.
Are we doing public or are we just Patreon?
We're public. I posted on Twitter. There's 12 people watching. Hi, Kelsey Hudgens. Kelsey Hudgens got swatted recently on his podcast.
Oh no.
Now everyone knows your dirty little secret, Kelsey. Okay. I'm going to email you the latest draft. FYI, based on what we talked about, literally like 20 minutes ago, I fucked with the priest's final speech because I figured that was the trickiest part we're going to have, and it would speed things up if we just tweaked rather than... Because remember, I had a whole different speech there, and then we reconfigured it, so we're like, no, that's going to be more of the hand as the part of the I speech, and I did that.
Yeah. Oh.
What's that sound? Phone sound?
My phone sound. Reject. Let me mute my shit.
It just sends whoever it is a message. Abe rejects you.
It was like, fuck yourself.
Fuck yourself, everybody. Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to the stream, motherfuckers!
Muting it. Hi, guys. I love you guys. Well, we're off to a good start.
Refreshing. Got it.
It is refreshing to talk to an old friend.
Yeah.
Via the internet.
There you go. There you walked right into that one.
Yeah, I burned you bad, dude.
Dude, you fucking got me. What's today? Today is the 4th.
You know, I consider us very old friends, Abe. Accent on the old. Oh, you walked right into that, dude. You didn't even have to speak and you walked into it.
I want to apologize on behalf of everyone how hard you got me.
I led you down that primrose path. Did the stream stop? Oh, no, I just pressed pause.
You walked into that one, you motherfucker.
I did. Hoist on my own petard. So did you get the new thing?
Yep, and I'm at 91. I'm ready to go.
Okay. So I'm going to see how many people are here. 21. That's
legal.
That's few enough people that I'm not going to recap the plot. I feel like they're mostly regulars probably at this point. But welcome to the final Call of Nature. 91 is me, right? Rough draft? It's hard to tell at this point because we mixed and matched so much stuff.
Yeah.
I'll read it.
I think it's honestly might be you until the last chunk.
I think there's only 2 more segments, me, then you, and we're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm 91.
We'll see.
All right.
Goo-goo.
91, interior player locker rooms. Later.
We're wacky with our screenplays today.
Later, players. FEMA thugs herd the crowd into the stadium locker rooms. It's warmer here. I think that should be in caps. But space is much more limited and people are restless. Paragraph break. As a result, the thugs are jumpy, all caps, and more forceful, barking orders at kids, shoving people this way and that, and checking all the lockers for items to toss or confiscate. The operations manager has set up shop in one corner, cordoned off by some overturned lockers. Behind him is the hallway to a coach's office. A thug debriefs him. This should be a numbered FEMA person. I forget our process. Should I read to the end before we do this, or should we do it now?
Let's just do it right now. Because I have to look at things anyway.
All right. Abe is the keeper of how many faceless thugs have been killed in what order to help us not number them incorrectly. So he's looking that up on his spreadsheet of death.
Okay, so it's not 15,
No,
13,
no. He got
14.
harpooned in the penis hole. That was rough for him.
12 interrogation scene uses symbol after Kyle escapes. It can be 12.
He went back in time and gave his grandfather a vasectomy. That was a rough death as well. 12 works.
12 works.
FEMA 12 debriefs him. FEMA 12. No one left on the field. Ops manager. Then take back the blankets. No more of this it takes a village bullshit. Thugs start to strip folks of their thermal blankets. Just then, Kyle appears in the doorway. Kyle, I surrender. Oh, we gotta add Marlene to that. Hands up, holding the sat phone in its yellow hard case. He points to the case. Kyle continued. Phone call for you. I like that. Thugs train rifles on him right away, and the ops manager has to leap over his makeshift barricade and shout, Ops manager, alive, alive, alive! Thugs tackle Kyle, and he goes limp, allowing himself to be restrained and pulled away from the doorway. He holds out the sat phone, and a thug is about to take it when he spots Marlene just making her own way back into the group. Well, that could technically work if they decided to have her sneak in at the last second. It's not. We'll talk after. Marlene is sneaking and using the commotion as cover, but nevertheless a nearby FEMA thug turns towards her and is about to spot her as well. Kyle swings the sat phone case and bashes the guy in the face. This is enough to distract the thug near Marlene and allow her to slip back into the crowd, but the thugs take it out on Kyle as they drag him through the parting sea of frightened civilians. They punch and kick him, slam their rifle butts into his back. From Kyle's POV, he's being borne down a hallway of people's faces, some weeping for him, some angry, some just scared. At the end of the hallway, the operations manager grins and applauds. A thug hands ops manager his phone case. Ops manager. God damn. Well, you certainly made this an interesting night, Mr. Andaman. And I'm saying that about what was already going to be a hostage taking during a hurricane. But I think we can all be thankful it's over, yes? Thugs drop Kyle onto the ground and he gets to his feet. Ops manager checks his watch. A few minutes late, I have to say. He gets close to Kyle and speaks in a low voice just for the two of them. Ops manager continued. You probably don't believe it, Kyle, but killing a child is just as hard for me as it would be for you. Kyle, then don't kill children. The operations manager jerks his head, a signal, and thugs grab Kyle and follow ops manager back into the coach's offices. About a dozen thugs hold down the perimeter, uneasy, completely outnumbered by the mass of regular folk who look more and more restless by the moment. We're using the word restless too much. Thug shouts, settle people, this will all be over soon. Thank you for your service. It's probably too much.
Yeah.
Marlene, making her way through the crowd in a slow but determined way, has finally reached her first goal, Dell, the mayor. She makes meaningful eye contact with him. He looks back quizzically. Dell, whispering, what is it? Anything.
Cool.
Back to the top. To go through and polish.
Yeah. You got all the... Replace the thugs first with 12.
Yeah. Yes. I want exclamation point after blankets.
I am fine with the across the page more or less, unless you had any grammatical.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to change into active language, right, which I can do right now as we go.
Yeah, do that kind of stuff today.
Yeah. Phone call for you. Thugs train rifle on him right away. Ops manager doesn't have to leap. Ops manager leaps. He chooses to leap. Ops manager leaps over his makeshift barricade and shouts. Kyle is not allowing. He allows himself to be restrained. Holds out the sat phone when he spots Marlene. Okay, so first thing to discuss is
Marlene's position and all this.
Is it weird? Well, now that we've jacked up how drugged out he is it weird that he doesn't need her for support at the beginning of the scene, physical support?
No, I think we should actually have a note about like when he comes out and says like phone call for you. He like either we have a line that says that he's woozy while he says it, or he stumbles as he says it.
Sure. Yeah. He points to the case, visibly woozy.
Right. I think we're everything in my gut is telling me we're moving towards this whole last scene.
Yes.
Because it's notable. It's like one of those set pieces in your movie where it's like, oh yeah, and I thought it was cool that they had that moment where in your like kind of climax more or less, you have a character who's body is unreliable. You know, we're gonna do that anyway with how injured he is, but it might as well just be the drugs kicking in hardcore.
Totally. I'm just asking if it's okay that I think the audience is smart. That's not too challenging, right? For them to understand. Well, even though they were together the last time I saw them, they probably split up just at the last second so that Marlene wouldn't be in danger as he surrenders.
I think that's easily to just
people could connect those dots, right? Okay.
Just by say, right after thugs tackle Kyle and he goes limp, allowing himself to be restrained and pulled away from the doorway after ops manager alive. Just then, Marlene sneaks through the tunnel in the back in the commotion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Move that up. Because in the third across the page after that, she says this is enough to distract the thug nearby Marlene. I think we should just make sure it happens literally as the tackles happen, so that I don't know. I think directors will like that shot. I would like that shot.
Okay, so maybe tab over to the stream because I'm doing that.
I got them both.
Boom, boom, boom. Thug. And seems about to spot her. Boom. Okay, actually I should put that paragraph break back.
The phone.
Okay, so that's, yeah, I think, check that. Should be done if it's caught up to the lag.
Nearby female thug, yeah, that can just be anybody.
Yeah, that one doesn't
matter. Kyle swings his sat phone case and bashes. Okay, I see. Do you think there would be a reaction, I think, from Ops if he has... I also think he should clumsily swing his sat phone case.
Oh, yeah, good point.
And bashes his guy in the face. I still think he's got enough power in him to do that. Wouldn't Ops manager react to that?
Yeah.
You know what actually might be really
Bring
fun?
him to me.
No, if Ops manager starts to laugh.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh man, you're fucked up, or, you know, like,
what about Ops manager starts to laugh and do a little dance? I could see Gary Oldman, you know, in this moment actually doing like a little like, oh boy, this is great.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. I also like him going like, oh shit, you're fucked up. Like, because it's the first time he's seen Kyle like not in control of his senses, and that's something like of note. He would either be like, oh shit, you're fucked up, or something along those lines, or yeah, he dances jig because it's over, or he does the thing where he's like, how did this guy go up against us? He's barely.
Or what about like man, he's like a fighter to the end because he just hit the guy even though he's all fucked up.
It just depends on what we want the emphasis to be on. Is if it's on he clumsily swings it, or if he bashes him on the face. And I think that he's been bashing the whole screenplay.
Right. So I think
not something Ops manager would be like. You'd be like, oh, he's still got some fight in him. I don't know. That doesn't.
Yeah, and like isn't it funny that he's trying? Look at, you know what I mean? Right. Like the kind of thing where you're like, did a breeze just go through here and brush against my face, or were you trying to hit me? Like that subtext. I honestly just want to get through the moment, but I agree that Ops manager should do something.
Yeah, it's earned.
But I don't like want him. I don't like need a full moment here, so I'm trying to make it something pretty unobtrusive.
I mean,
what about careful that phone's expensive? Because like they're hitting Kyle. You know, he makes a joke about protect the phone.
I really think that the first thing in Op's mind would be how woozy he is, and so however he reacts to that, I don't think it would be any other joke. Just given
I just think,
the
oh shit, you're fucked
solemnity
up,
of the
way
event.
too casual.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that as the subtext. Mostly alive is fine.
Oh yeah, I could say it. Alive. All right, mostly alive, and then obviously the FEMA thug smashes him in the face again. I guess they're already punching and kicking him later, but I feel like just swinging a sat phone and bashing someone in the face, which is new, would warrant a response, not just by Ops, but like if Ops is like, all right, mostly alive, which I do like,
sure.
then the FEMA 12 would be like, all right, or not FEMA 12, the other FEMA thug would be like, have the go ahead to just like hit him, like punish him for it.
In that case, if you feel this moment behooves another moment, like I'd rather cut both moments. Like I don't want this to turn into a thing. I think is my instinct. Because we're so close to the thing, and we already did the very last scene. He's woozy and kills 2 more guys. Like, you know, we kind of did this emotionally.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's less that. It's less that. It's more about how people would react in the moment based off.
Right. So I'm saying let's have him not even.
So it's new for them.
So I'm saying let's have him not even swing the sat phone, because I don't want to have. I don't want to behoove ourselves to have redundant reactions from characters here. You know
I think then the best version is he swings and misses, and then and then Ops does a little dance.
Okay, I mean, and I'm fine with just Ops manager laughs. Do you still want the dance? I could go either way.
No,
yeah.
I think the actor would take that and do something with it.
Yeah, I think misses badly is cleaner. Kyle clumsily swings his applicator and misses badly. Ops manager laughs, as does the thug who punches him in the jaw. And then next paragraph, but thankfully this is enough to distract.
I don't need that.
The thug near, or what about just but? I just think it needs a linking word conjunction. Sure. But this is enough to distract the thug near Marlene. Period. The thugs take their frustrations out on Kyle as they drag him through the party. Cool. And then you get like a Passion of the Christ shot where he's seeing everyone's faces as he gets dragged to the cross.
He points up to the storm.
I mean, it's like if you, I don't know, if we pushed it a couple hairs further, people would be like, what is he, Jesus?
Just making a joke of him going like, we are the same. All right. Cool.
A thug hands Ops manager's phone case. Oh, I thought after thug hands Ops manager's phone case, I kind of like Ops manager holds it aloft like a game trophy, you know, like you won the football game.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Super Bowl trophy. You get a ring. Like, let's say...
There's a trophy.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
I just know rings are the main thing, but I guess that's because they're easier to carry for the rest of your life. Yeah. Ops manager, blah, 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 blah.
I want to go back and just say, as much as I like it, I just really want to lose the from Kyle's POV, which I know alters the entirety of that.
I still hope the director does that, but you're just saying you don't want to go meta right now?
Yeah.
I think you still get the image from hallway of people's faces. That makes
exactly. You lose nothing.
And it doesn't have to be POV. I mean, it could be a wrestler follow shot. I just like we're going down a sea of parting faces, getting like a straw poll of how people feel about it. You know.
That's it.
You're right. It doesn't matter that it's POV.
I would. I don't know. Just dialogue, Spidey sense. I would cut the. The Mr. Andaman.
Mm-hmm.
In the line. I don't know why.
I'd also cut yes, because we made it more casual, and that's more of
Yeah.
a fancy
Yeah.
lab. So just then, but we can all be thankful it's over.
Yeah.
Okay. A few minutes late, I have to say I really like.
Mhm.
I don't know if I still like. I do like the response, then don't kill children, but he hasn't killed a child. We toned that down. I mean, it's still fucked up, but he doesn't
Yeah,
actually kill
he
Hector.
made a child witness.
But what about civilians instead of a child is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Then don't kill civilians. Okay. Anything else?
Do you like then don't kill civilians? Is there anything just a pitch? You cannot kill civilians. That's the only alternate that I have.
I prefer than don't kill civilians personally.
Okay. I have no.
It seems more actiony to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Thug script. I'm gonna put a paragraph break here if that's okay. About a dozen thugs hold down the perimeter, because that would be a separate shot sequence of the crowd. And I'm gonna change restless to angry. Cool. Active language shit. Marlene makes her way through the crowd in a slow but determined way, comma, finally reaches her first goal, Deldemare. She makes me... that cool? Ready for 93?
Yep.
Should it be 92?
92.
Why does mine say 93?
It's Celtex when you...
Yeah.
At one moment you were doing returns and it turned into 92, so you just...
How do you... Can't I go scene numbers off and on again?
Go to format options. Oh wait, no. Yeah. Show scene numbers none, and then show scene numbers both. Or yeah. So you just wipe it.
You just wipe it, sir. I need to help other restroom customers, sir. Just wipe it. Alright. Now it says it is 93 still. That's weird. It's still numbered technically incorrectly.
Is the last one 92? Because if
no,
that's true,
the last one says 91. That's what I'm saying, is even though I wiped it and brought it back. Maybe there's a phantom slug in here with no text on it. You know what I mean?
Put your cursor on every across the page and... No, that's...
We gotta fix this, motherfuckers. Parenthetical character, action, dialogue, parenthetical character, action. I'm looking for scene heading. But it usually gives you the gray bar even if it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What?
This doesn't fully matter because the production team would just call it scene 93. It doesn't matter if there's a scene missing as long as the numbers...
Yeah, they figure out a way to make it work.
Alright, let's continue.
Right.
It just took a while to update. Now it is 92. That's
Alright,
bizarre. It must have started at page 1 and like gone bing. Okay, 92, interior coach's office, simultaneous. Ops manager leans way back in a leather swivel chair behind a nice desk, looking relaxed for the first time today. Kyle in a small chair opposite, and a thug thwacks him across the face with a rifle butt for good measure. He seems groggy. He seems borderline conscious, right?
Sure, yeah.
We ramped that up, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep going? It sounded like you had a thing.
No, I was going to say that I could cut the groggy, but I do like borderline conscious now.
Okay.
Because it now informs this scene if you just read it alone, which is always a nice thing.
Yeah.
When you get your scene pages,
totally.
You know how to be.
You know how to be.
You know how to read it.
Kyle, can I ask you something? Ops manager, please, by all means, Kyle, your speech about taking money from the government, saving the world, it's bullshit, right? You're gonna buy a solid gold sex doll or something, right? Ops manager, I wish you could understand what we're trying to do here. Kyle, cut the shit. One of your guys told me you're just low-rent mercenaries. Ops manager, low rent. No, Kyle, we are the highest paid mercenaries in the history of printed money. Kyle, or will be. Ops manager, or will be. Or won't be. There's still a little time left on the clock, but I'm a gambling man, and I have a last proposition for you. Live man? Ooh, how'd that make it in all the way to this point? Live man, people tuning in for the first time, was Ops Manager's original name. Ops Manager being the big bad in this movie. Short for Operations Manager of FEMA, which he is impersonating. The Operations Manager points a sidearm at Kyle's chest, arm rested nonchalantly across the desk between them. Ops Manager continued. Sorry, so just so this flows, because I interrupted the thought process. I have a last proposition for you. It's about the only thing keeping you alive, so I'll make it brief and we can wrap this up. Kyle. Fine with me. Ops Manager. The world is changing, Kyle. That isn't bullshit. We are in the midst of the sixth extinction. Hopefully the actor can say it better than I did. And amidst flood and flame, 90% of the people on this planet will die by starvation or war or worse. Kyle, that's not certain. Ops Manager. It is certain.
Okay.
All right?
I got some problems with the scene.
Okay.
From what they're talking about. So I really like the solid gold sex doll or something. That all sings. You don't understand what we're trying to do here. That is great for a segue of like I'm still holding up this thing. Once we start talking about the low rent mercenaries, I just feel like it's a discussion that like yeah, I understand that Kyle's taking a dig, but he doesn't I don't know why Ops would even at this point try to like buff himself up and be like cock of the walk here. I mean, I guess I do because he's just the big bad, but like the low rent and the highest paid mercenaries in the history of printing money, I just don't think he would be disillusioned about that. I think he'd know that the score is going to be in the millions, but like he doesn't think that he's going to be the best. He's the best mercenary. I think that the Ops Manager...
Not the best mercenary, most profitable, because, you know, they're going to flip all the luxury bunkers to, like, Saudi princes, which you could end up with $1 trillion. That's, you know, a lucrative heist.
I don't think from this, I don't know, maybe. I just don't think that the Ops Manager, how we've written him so far in the movie, would have any illusion about that.
Like, even if that stuff
like, I'm here, I'm going to...
Yeah.
Well paid.
Even if that stuff's true, he's not going to brag about it.
Like, I just don't see him doing it in my head.
Bragging about it? Or...
Yeah, bragging about it in a way where he needs to brag about it when someone's flexing on him saying you're a piece of shit. He would be like, I have all the power, you know, like maybe he might brag about it if he was given the time to pontificate it and he got to set up.
But he's more
all
the type of guy where
making
someone would go like, you're a piece of shit, and he'd go like, okay,
I'm not.
No, he wouldn't. He would just go like, fine, it doesn't matter to my calculations.
Man. Yeah. In fact, I think that this line could be easily just like, sure, man, whatever you think doesn't matter anymore.
Right, or your initial impulse I'm fine with. Like, that doesn't need to be a beat. It's just a reference to the beat in the gym where he is like, you guys don't care about anything, right? To the guy with his knee blown out, and he's like, yeah, man, I just answered an ad on the paper, and he's like, I fucking knew it, you're all just shitheads.
Yeah.
But that doesn't need to come back. It's already happened once.
Yeah, and plus that's accomplished with the line that I'm not talking about. I'm fine with him calling him a mercenary. It's all about Ops Manager's reaction to that. I feel is could be more genuine or attuned to how Ops Manager has operated at this point. Yeah, because the rub's up.
Right.
So it's just these last 3 lines here before.
I mean, I've pitched this in many a sketch. We both have, but sometimes I think the best line is just, okay. Cut the shit. One of your guys told me the truth. You're just low rent mercenaries. Admit it.
That's so funny because you're gonna. It depends on whether or not I like that. I had the other net that was coming later, which is I just liked how you read it, which is so I'll make this brief and we can wrap this up. Instead of fine with me, I was gonna go with fine.
Like, or great. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, it's just the way you read it that time because you were like.
Well, what if we do the Cohen thing and they both say okay? Or they
Oh,
both
yeah.
say fine. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
They go back and forth.
Okay. Yeah, like that's almost, once again, that's like the worst thing you can do to someone. It's the Pete Campbell in Mad Men. I don't think
Yeah.
I never think about you at all. That's kind of what Kyle is trying to do right now. He's like, the best card he has in his hand is just to be like, all right, you fucker, I already told you, you suck for killing people. That's where our conversation ends. So I like that a lot.
Okay.
Fine.
I just tweaked. Tell me what you think when the stream catches up.
Position for you, so try and stay awake. Yeah. Points aside aren't. Yep. It's the only thing keeping you alive, so I'll make this brief and we can wrap it up. Fine. Yep.
Yep.
Good.
I think amidst is too fancy. I think you should just say,
Yep.
and whether it's flood or flame.
Well, that's the other thing
Flood
that
or
I had
fire.
to do with is, I don't know, he's getting pretty deep into the six extinction stuff.
I gotta say,
I want to understand.
I feel we'd be foolish not to use that. Cause it's so timely. Like
it's so timely, and it's
the
Force of
movie's called
Nature.
Force of
Yeah.
Nature. Like, I don't know why we wouldn't. And it's not like, I know I kind of eased this in there after we discussed, but I really like it. And my sell point that I think makes it make sense is the idea that his plan is actually to use the money they get here to build luxury bunkers, whether or not the sixth extinction is happening, which it is, but even if you don't believe it is, Silicon Valley billionaires and Saudi princes will pay a bunch of money for like luxury bunkers that can withstand anything, because the narrative of the time we live in is that you might as well prepare for that, you know?
See, I feel like what you just said is more how the ops manager would talk about it. He wouldn't be like, we're in the middle of the sixth extinction.
Oh, I see. So
I think
your
it
problem
should
isn't
be
his
more-
plan, it's that why is he talking about it like he cares instead of just as a business
Yeah. I mean, I actually think the way that you just pointed it out, and by that to get like meta on like how you're talking about it as opposed to just what you're saying, that's what I wanted to really iron out. I liked how you just did it, which you're just like, you know that like the second this shit happens, and it is happening, there's gonna be Silicon Valley people who are gonna fucking do that. So
right, which he says in the next section, but you're right, like that should infect the whole. He should be more casual throughout.
Yeah,
The
like
world
he's
is
like,
changing
you act like the world
now.
is you act like the world like better than it is. It's not. It's shit, and we're just all getting like, that's the cavalierness that I think he should have.
Yeah.
Is that a word, cavalierness?
Cavalierity. No.
Cavalry, got it.
Cavalier nature. I don't think there is an adjective. Well, cavalier is an adjective. You know what I mean. I don't think that has a version of that word that is that. Cavalierness is technically, you can put ness on the end of things, but it's pretty clunky.
Yeah, it's clunky.
I don't want him to say literally, even if you don't believe in climate change, but I feel like what he should point out is, but also it's weird. Only America's one of the few countries where there's still a bulk of politicians who don't believe in climate change. It's not even like an issue elsewhere in a lot of places.
I don't feel the need to be apologetic or caveat that. I think he's like, he should just be like, it's coming.
Okay, he doesn't need to say, even if you don't believe it, we can make money here. That goes without saying.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. I feel that.
We're in the midst of the sixth extinction or starvation or war. The world's about to get a lot more dangerous, and the rich will pay for protection. In which case, I would cut the last two lines of the scene.
Yeah.
Agreed? All right.
Yeah.
So check that and see if you're okay.
In the midst of this, whether or not it's flood or fire, starvation, it's about to get a lot. Waiting for the scroll. Have you scrolled down yet?
I did.
Oh, it's cut off the line. Okay. Starvation or war was about to get a lot more dangerous, and the rich will pay for protection. My alt pitch for "and the rich will pay for protection" is, and you know that the rich people are gonna, Like, I just like the way that you said it. You're like, and
You know,
rich
the
people are gonna...
Silicon Valley billionaires and the
Yeah,
Saudi
exactly.
princes will pay to be saved from all that, protected from all that.
What the way you said it before was something along the lines of, we'll build a luxury condominium that will be able to brave the storm, or
Well, that's
something.
coming next. Let's, if it's
Okay.
okay, that's in the next section. He says that. So let's just end on more dangerous, and we can hop back if you don't think the next segment accomplishes it.
That's right.
Should Kyle say get to the point or anything like that before we're out of the scene?
Fine.
Okay.
Three.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Three's company.
God, shut up.
God.
Shut up, Tina. Eat your ham or whatever Napoleon Dynamite does. 93. Player locker room simultaneous. So I know, because we're taking a long time to read, it doesn't feel that way, but this is an intercut montage of two sequences. Yeah. Outside, Marlene and Dell are now... Marlene and Dell now both... Nope. Sorry, I'm changing it to active language. Outside, Marlene and Dell both circulate through the crowd, surreptitiously whispering to people they know, some of whom nod curtly, some of whom seem to ignore them. Ops manager, off scene. Yep, okay, so here he's talking highfalutin again, so we gotta change it. I don't even need to read it.
Other than the fact that he's pointing out the governments of the world are too incompetent.
I don't even need... I could just lose Ops and Kyle both in this
right,
scene.
Because then I start swinging the other way. As a viewer, I'd be like, so wait, does he think that he's accomplishing something, or does he think that he's just taking advantage of the situation?
No, he thinks whether or not it accomplishes anything real, he'll get paid. He's Mr. Pink.
Right, so I don't think, once again, I don't think he should be disillusioned that he's doing anything. So he wouldn't try to, in the final moments where he's already got him, he wouldn't be like, this is further globalism. Yeah.
Cool, so cutting those two lines, ready to move on?
Thug should be somebody.
Sure. You're right.
Could be 12 again, I think.
Okay.
Or is 12 now hovering? Like, I feel like now they're not worried about him, so 12 can just be...
Well, he's in the back room with Ops Manager, yeah. Yeah, so FEMA 12 could be guarding the coach's office door and still looking at the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're adjoining locations.
He ushered him in, and then...
And then he waits outside the door and is like, hey, shut up. Why are they talking? They shouldn't be talking. Yeah.
All right.
Into 94, interior coach's office, simultaneous. Ops manager, look, Kyle, I'm not delusional. You're a cowboy, a Boy Scout. I'm more pragmatic. Kyle, you're a fucking cold-blooded ops manager. Yada, yada, yada. Seinfeld, good show. But Kyle, I'm sorry, that's from a really rough draft. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that immediately.
Yeah, that's one of those things. You put in because you're like, you should...
No. Well, we used to have him be funnier than he is now. Yeah. I'm starting over. Look, Kyle, I'm not delusional. You're a cowboy, a Boy Scout. I'm more pragmatic. Kyle, you're a fucking cold-blooded ops manager. But Kyle, the amount of money we're discussing has changed harder hearts than yours. The operations manager comes around the desk and sits on the edge, always keeping the sidearm trained on Kyle, who slumps and makes no move to resist. Ops manager continued. You're clearly capable as a soldier. You keep your cool. I could use someone like that, especially now that someone has liquidated about half of my staff. Kyle laughs. Ops manager continued. The money we make here today will go towards the construction of a series of opulent underground bunkers designed to withstand the coming global crises. Whether you believe it's coming or not, enough Silicon Valley billionaires and Saudi princes do. We've got a buyer list $2 trillion long, Kyle. Kyle, fuck your phone. Make your call. You'll never get the seed money. America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, ops managers. They do when you have 8 key contracts in the CIA and NSA who all want one of our bunkers. It's black market survival. And naturally, if you join us, first perk is a bunker of your own when the time comes. Guaranteed survival for yourself and your loved ones. Or death here and now. Which do you choose? Kyle. There's more to life than guaranteed survival. Guess I'm a gambler too. Ops manager. Alright then, let's turn that river card. He shoots Kyle 3 times in the chest. Kyle spins in his chair and lands on the ground face down in a bloody heap. If he's not dead already, he will be very soon. Ops manager continued to FEMA 12. Oh, no, it should be someone else. So find a FEMA thug that's not occupied. But I'll finish reading. Ops manager to a thug nearby. The money will be in our accounts within the hour. Once I have confirmation, we move immediately. Thug. Understood, I'll spread the word. The thug heads down the corridor, leaving Kyle's body and the operations manager alone. Back to the top. Yep.
Yep. I got some sweeping notes on this one, by the way. If you want to change it to FEMA 9, that is fine. What should I say the action is here? Ops manager tells him in 93 is where we're at. The word. Okay. Okay. Returning back to stream. Okay. I think, I mean, obviously it's highfalutin again, and it's talking about the stuff that we want to talk about at this moment. It's all set up. I really, even though I do want Silicon Valley billionaires and Saudi princes in there, but I feel like a lot of his monologue here is almost better if it's done in the way that ops manager is talking to Kyle of like, you know, the fucking rub. Rich people are always going to win. I don't know if I like the CIA and NSA connection. It just feels like pulling it out of nowhere. He can, like, I feel like he can hint at it by saying something along the lines of like, the government knows what's up. But I don't like that, and I don't love that we got a buyer's list $2 trillion long.
Oh, I really like that part, but I agree with everything else you said.
I mean, like, I like the way you phrased it.
I want to reveal, like, I want to know by the end of the movie what this group actually has to gain from doing this, like what their end objective is, why this is happening, you know?
I feel like I understand when he's like, obviously what's happening is that he's taking money from the government to give to the people who understand that global climate change is already happening.
Right,
and
to sell
they're becoming the
idea. Right,
essentially like the literati.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I don't know, like, it's an action movie. I want to feel the stakes be big, you know, like, I hate to say it, but like Dr. Evil saying $1 billion. I want at some point to know, like, what's he getting out of this? Oh shit, $2 trillion. All right, well, I understand why he's doing it.
I could be happy with it instead of we've got a buyer's list $2 trillion long. Is such active speech in terms of like he has done this plan. He is Dr. Evil, and I'd be totally fine with the we got a buyer's list $2 trillion long, Kyle. If it like almost started there and it was just like, stop acting like you don't think there's a buyer's list $2 trillion long, Kyle.
Sure.
The rich are always going to win. That's all I'm taking advantage of. That's all anyone can ever do. The Silicon Valley billionaires and Saudi princes are going to win. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
that. Yeah.
And
I like Kyle's response to it.
The word opulent is too much, so I'm just cutting it. Okay, so, and you know as well as I do, the Saudi princes always win, whoever they might be at the time. I'm just trying to get paid out of it. How about that? Let it load. He should not say America. So the reason I put in the thing about the CIA and NSA contacts is I do think some savvy viewers will think it's a plot hole that Ops Manager could expect to get away with this because historically it is true that America will not really pay a bunch of money for civilians unless they're captured by a foreign government, not if they're captured by just criminals. But it's an action movie, so I am convinced by your logic that we just don't have Kyle point it out and don't have him defend it. We just gloss over it.
We just gloss over it. I wanted to hop back to the previous line still.
Yes. I also like it's black market survival. That's simpler and cleaner.
This is not Tetris. Everything is where it should be. It's more of like how he starts. I'd prefer over the money today will go towards the construction of. I just really like it if Ops Manager starts right off of Kyle's laugh. You act like you don't know that there's already construction of a series of underground bunkers designed to withstand coming global crisis.
I feel like that would make Kyle go like, "What? Where the hell did that come from?" Or you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like
why would Kyle be thinking about that? Why would Ops Manager expect Kyle to be thinking about that? He doesn't know it's their plan.
I think that Ops Manager would, because I think Ops Manager is the kind of hardened criminal that it's like, oh, we know that everyone, especially the rich, are constantly doing crimes. Don't act like you're not in the
But building an underground bunker is not a crime.
It kind of is when you're... Yeah.
No, it's immoral, but it's not a crime.
Sure.
It's cowardly. What about... Okay, I just think the way you phrased it was like equally technical and highfalutin as what we have now, but I understand what you're saying. So let me pitch back. What about something like, don't you read the news, Kyle? Silicon Valley billionaires are already building bunkers that blah, 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 blah. And like Saudi princes are interested too. And then we go back into as it is.
I like that.
Okay, cool. Ba, ba, ba. Silicon Valley assholes already spending millions on underground bunkers to withstand the coming crisis. I'm cutting the word global just because we're making it more plain spoken. Don't you read the news, Kyle? Silicon Valley assholes are already spending millions on underground bunkers to withstand the coming crisis. Whether you believe it's coming or not, enough billionaires and Saudi princes do, and you know as well as I do, the rich assholes always win, whoever they may be at the time. I'm just trying to get paid out of it.
Yeah, I like that better. I think the distinction from here on in, got it in my head, is that we got to tone down the like acolyte-ism and more the I'm just trying to get mine while the getting's good. Because the more money we make, we did
lose.
You should hear the good news.
Yeah, we did lose 1 point. I think it's important still be made. So, paid out of it. He has to say he hasn't said we are building bunkers to sell to them with the money we're getting here today. You know what I mean? That's now missing. But there's got to be a simple way to weasel it back in.
I mean, it's already or not already there, but it's like it looks like it's opening up for. Don't you read the news, Kyle? Silicon Valley assholes.
Right after that sentence, I agree.
Yeah, just right at with coming crisis. Just have a line like,
"We're going to."
Where do you think this money's going?
Yeah. We're going to take today's call and put a string of.
Dave, we're not going to call the main character Dave, so we can call the movie title Dave.
Bunkers for charge them at the ass. I don't need that. Okay.
Well,
right, check that out.
Right before that, I want to quickly do a rundown for chat so that people continue to watch.
Go ahead. I'm gonna
First off, we will take questions like maybe the last 20 minutes of the thing, so stick around if you do have specific questions about stuff. And the last thing is just like more or less a short paragraph pitch of what this is. If you're new joining here, is essentially it's an action movie that's called Force of Nature, that's about your main character fighting against a group of essentially mercenaries who are acting like they're FEMA representatives during a hurricane in order to take them hostage and force the United States to give them money, like terrorists. So it's basically Die Hard, but in a hurricane. Got it? Got it. All right. Let me read that. Don't you read the news, guys?
Okay, wait. It's still catching. Alright, okay. Now, when I catch this up, that's my pick.
Coming bunkers to withstand the coming crisis. We're going to take today's haul, build a bunch of luxury holes, flip them, charge them out the ass. Whether or not you believe it's coming or not. I would say cut enough. Whether or not you believe it's coming or not, billionaires and Saudi princes do.
Mm-hmm.
We got a buyer's list $1 trillion long, and you know as well as I do that assholes always win, whoever that might be at the time. I like that. I'm just trying to get paid out of it. Fuck your phone, make your call. You'll never see the money. Do we need seed money?
No.
Cool.
And okay.
Okay.
And I don't need the word naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The rest I like, or unless you have further notes.
I actually really like I was going to give the note that I don't like that the ops manager is now like in a elevator pitch for him. So I was gonna argue that when he says like scroll up a little bit. I'm waiting for stream. It's Black Market Survival, and if you join us, the first perk is a bunker zone. I really think it might be funny if Kyle laughs at this. It's like, is this a pyramid scheme?
What about timeshare pitch?
Yeah.
Or like, what are you selling?
I just like the idea that he's taking the winds out of its sail by like, are you pitching me right now? The funny thing that he would point out.
I like, what are you selling me a timeshare if you're okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we would cut when the time comes.
Yeah. And then now I'm fine because now I see, now it's like he's starting to be a little bit more of the acolyte. You know, he's a little bit more of a zealot for this cause. Because he's like, I'm going to make it.
Right. But it's not the cause of saving the Earth. It's the cause of, I'm going to make $1 trillion while everyone else dies because they're stupid. Yeah. Ready for 95?
We haven't gotten through the last bit.
Right. Do you have any notes for it?
Shoot some money will be in our accounts within the hour. Understood. I'll spread the word. You changed FEMA 9. Okay, yeah. That was I just forgot.
Oh, but it should be FEMA 9 heads down the corridor.
Mm.
Ready?
Yep.
95. Interior player locker rooms, simultaneous. A ripple of anxiety goes through the crowd as the gunshots echo from the corridor. Marlene talks to the father, who looks barely conscious but nods vigorously before Marlene is pulled away by a suspicious thug. Dell lunges toward Marlene and tries to free her, but another thug knocks him down. The crowd immediately picks him back up. Several thugs, looking nervous, take the safeties off their AR-15s. Father, weakly, getting louder. Calm, please, peace. Neighbors, believers and non-believers, please listen. I have a sermon for us all. The violence today has been frightening, to say the least. Thug, quiet! Stop it, now! People surround the father. None of the thugs are willing to fire randomly into the crowd, at least not yet. So the priest continues to sermonize while thugs shout at them to be silent. Father continued. But it put me in mind of a passage, one I couldn't recall in its entirety due to inclement circumstances. I think it applies now. It begins. There are different kinds of gifts, but the same spirit. Different kinds of service, but the same source. And now my question is, should we seam these segments together into one and do it as one, or go bit by bit? What do you think?
I think bit by bit to
Okay.
ramp up its pacing.
Yeah.
Um, I personally would cut from Father's first line, believers and non-believers.
Okay.
I think you're doing it, neighbors. You got it.
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah, he's talking to everyone. Violence. Stop it now. That's fine. Sermonize. That's fine. If it's true to a sermon, or the sermons that I've been in, they don't make it conversational. Or I would just cut but. I would just say it puts me in mind of a passage.
Sure.
When I can recall its entirety due to inclement circumstances feels. I mean, I guess
Well, it's a
the father
reference
could
to
be
when he
the
was
kind of
bleeding
person.
out.
Right. Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I was deciding to make him kind of like very well learned, but
Yeah. No, yeah. I think then that's fine because it's a little bit more of a payoff. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I'm happy to go to 96.
All right, cool. Interior coach's office simultaneous. So yeah, spoiler alert stream. This is the ending of Godfather. This movie is many good movies cobbled together, which a lot of good action movies are, as other action movies cobbled together in an interesting pattern. So this end is the end of Godfather 1, where we're going to intercut two sequences. One is a priest talking, and the other one is people getting killed. It's Godfather. 96.
That must make it good.
That must make it good. Interior coach's office simultaneous. Ops manager drops the pistol on his desk and ceremoniously places the sat phone case in front of himself. I imagine him doing jazz fingers, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, time to open the case.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Without going full on Joker, I do want.
I don't want to put that in on the across the page because that would encourage
No.
people to imagine that he's the Joker. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and before there's the Joker, there was. Well, I mean, there's a lot of.
What?
But I'm trying to think of the reference. It's not
Kane?
Milo.
Are you trying to think of the first evil person?
No, it's like if Bruce Willis in Boy Scout was a villain, because you literally said like he dances the jig. Like when he kills, he says at one point, it's.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that the Shane Black movie?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
He's
Also,
like,
I just watched The Long Good Night recently, which ends with him murdering a man in cold blood, playing a tiny harmonica, and dancing a jig.
Yeah.
And he's the hero.
Like, oh, this guy's also, apropos of nothing, weird.
Whimsical. Like, he thinks weird stuff is funny, and he does weird stuff, yeah.
I like that. I like that for this character. It makes him...
But it usually comes out of the collaboration between
like,
the actor they cast, and
Yeah.
Anyway. Maybe we'll get Joaquin. Ops manager drops the pistol on his desk and ceremoniously places the sat phone case in front of himself. Father continued, off scene. The body is a unit, though it is made up of many parts. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. Kyle wheezes from a punctured lung as his blood begins to pool.
Money.
Mwah. 97. Interior, player locker room, simultaneous. Two thugs confer and decide to make their way through the crowd and restrain the preacher. They encounter resistance and start to club people in the stomachs to get through. Father continued. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. Father has to raise his voice as chaos increases. Civilians now form a human barricade between him and the oncoming thugs. Father continued. And the parts that we think are less honorable we treat with special honor. Marlene seems to be preparing herself. Dell and a few other folks have maneuvered themselves up to a row of lockers. They make eye contact and wait. Hector weeps, held by a family friend. Father continued. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now we are the body of this community, and each one of you is a part of it.
Yeah. Still money. I love it.
I changed the word Christ to community, which I think is preferable. Like he's paraphrasing for the purposes of this event.
We all know what we're doing at the point. I actually think in the screenplay we should after the form a human barricade between him and the oncoming thugs. It could just... I am a big fan of just putting in the across page right after that. It looks like a protest gone wrong.
Yeah.
You know, or something along those lines, just because I think that that's what we're doing with their imagery. Might as well. Yep.
Agreed. I also think there should be a paragraph break for Hector Weeps.
Oh yeah.
which I added just because I'm like, why not check in with Hector?
Yeah, it's like checking in.
And
Meanwhile, back at the
don't
ranch.
make him responsible for doing anything. He's just out of
Mhm.
commission.
Yeah, he's not helping.
Yeah.
He's weeping.
Yeah, 98.
98.
Now we're cooking. This
Well, it
is the
helps
part
with
I
a lot
worked
of
hardest
quote.
on, so yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Or no, I mean this climactic part, so hopefully it's fewer notes than some other
Yeah,
segments.
it's a lot more polished than I
Than
remember.
some other rough
Good.
parts, yeah. Interior, coach's office simultaneous. Kyle takes another ragged breath. Ops manager flips the latches on the phone case and opens it. He looks confused. Father continued, off screen or off scene. Pardon. We are all connected, and even after all we have suffered today, I look out at you and I believe in my heart that most people are good. And those that aren't, most of them, well, they're hurting or confused.
Yep.
99 Players Gym, earlier, audience, this is key. We're now going out of time sequence.
Time slippage, because that's what was inside the box. It was time travel.
Well, unless you've been tracking the whole screenplay, you won't get the visual cues and know that these are things from earlier in the movie, but they are.
Say it again. You broke up.
Oh, I was saying if you haven't been following the whole stream, you might not get the visual cues that these are things from stuff you saw already earlier in the film.
Yeah,
but that's what they are. Interior Players Gym, earlier. Slow push onto Kyle as he rummages through a janitorial closet in the gym. This is clearly shortly after the fight there ended. So, like, that's, I don't know if that's too spoon-feedy, but as the guy is currently strapped to the treadmill and moaning in pain. Kyle finds the bottles he was looking for, bleach and ammonia cleansers. Father continued off scene. But there's evil in this world too, and when good people are threatened by true evil, they'll do what they need to do so that the community survives.
Yeah, money.
Do you think this is clearly shortly after the fight there ended as to talking directly to the reader? Or
no.
is it like worth it to make sure no one's confused about this? Okay.
Because it's efficient and efficiency is king.
At this point,
we have to explain what earlier meant, like in the same way that you were like that earlier. You joke about it to stream because it's like, okay, so this is kind of unclear. We haven't done this in this movie yet, so let's spell it out for him.
Right. The rest of the movie's been very chronological.
This is a very.
This is the twist, you guys. All right, 100 interior skybox earlier. Slow push onto Kyle as he assembles the fire extinguisher cart contraption in preparation for the skybox fight. He decides on ratchet straps to hold the extinguishers down, but also pockets a roll of duct tape. Father continued off scene. If not every part, then the whole. And ask for forgiveness later.
I have a pitch just because I don't know why I just like the idea of things being hard is like it's just one of those things that I am like as a director I just imagine the visual being nice while he's saying if not every part then the whole and ask for forgiveness later. When he's as we're going forward in time flashback, he's slowly it's becoming harder and harder for him. So that can be as simple as a metaphor as he decides to ratchet straps to hold the fire extinguishers down, drops the ratchet straps or something like that, and like to me over silence he would be like he would scream like fuck or something like that, but we wouldn't have that. It would just be over Father's monologue. But it's just the idea that he's feeling the weight of his body because that we're rebuilding the thing of like, yes, his body has been fucked up. This is a great moment to point that out, is that the people who do fight true evil, you have to go through like a purgatory essentially.
Right.
Or rather a crucible.
How about Kyle has to pause and let his stabbing pain in his chest pass before he can move on?
Yeah, that's.
I just think it's more pointed than dropping something.
Yeah, it's also much better after the line than before it, which is a good call.
101 interior main concession stand earlier. Slow push onto Kyle at the this is why earlier I was like, this. Okay, so this will need to be changed because Marlene arrives at the concession stand first. 101 interior main concession stand earlier. Slow push onto Kyle at the concession stand before Marlene arrives. He's dumping out a 2-liter bottle of soda in a trash can. The bleach and ammonia bottles sit nearby with the duct tape. He wears his face mask. Next to them, the open sat phone case. The phone itself sits on the ground near Kyle's foot. He kicks it under the concession stand. We just have to change this to a different location. That's all.
Yeah, it only has to really be the first section if you wanted to parse it out, but it looks like it's already parsed out. So
what is
the concession stand
location he was at before he rendezvoused with Marlene at the concession stand?
Right before she's in the tunnel, side corridor. He's in the bathroom, washing blood.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. And we haven't flashback to the bathroom yet, so that's
68.
Perfect.
If you want to know, I can read quickly. Because he's pouring a bottle of isopropyl alcohol, pours it onto a balled up paper towel, applies it to a shattered hand, starts to sob through tears. He dries his hands in one of those Dyson air blades. Takes long, frustrating him. He finally kicks it and tries to rip it off the wall in a fit of rage. So it can be before he's destroyed the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because we do have an exit.
Slow push onto Kyle in the bathroom before he washed the blood off his face. He dumps out a 2-liter bottle of soda into a trash can. The bleach pneumonia bottle sitting nearby. He wears his face mask next to him, the open sat phone case. He kicks it under a bathroom stall door. Then I would add paragraph break. Kyle takes off the mask and starts to wash the blood off his face.
Right. I think...
To put it back in time.
Yeah. I think you should keep it the same way, and starts, like, I like how he ends, starts to wash his face or whatever. I think that just so that it's more memorable to me when we're referencing a previous scene, this previous scene in particular, not the scene where he washed his face off, the scene where he tried to go to town on a Dyson air blade or whatever.
Right, but...
That's what people remember about that scene.
But that scene ends with him doing that on his way out of the bathroom, so I'm unclear how to reference it, because he would have done all this before that.
Right, but all we have to... The point is that the room isn't torn to shit, or I guess it wouldn't have been torn to shit.
Just make a point that the Dyson Airblade is there.
That's just how I remember that scene.
If
you were to say, do you remember that scene, the scene where he washes his face in the bathroom? Not really. The one where he tries to pull a thing off the wall? Oh, yeah. That's all I'm literally...
Oh, okay. Well, what about Kyle takes off the mask and starts to wash himself? He looks around for paper towels, finds none. I don't
think that does it, because that's all work that the scene's already done. I think it's literally just the line, slow pushing on Kyle in the bathroom, washes the blood off his face should be different. It's just that one line.
Okay. On the bathroom where he flipped out on the Dyson Airblade. How about that?
Sure. I was also trying to sneakily get you out of slow push onto Kyle, but...
Okay. Why sneaky? You can just say it.
Yeah,
Kyle in the bathroom where he flipped out on the Dyson Airblade, he's still covered in blood. He dumps out a 2-liter. How about that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, now check it out. Final proposal. I Tetrised it a little differently.
Agreed.
102?
Agreed, 102.
Interior coach's office, present. Last moment was ops manager looking quizzical. The sat phone case lid swings up and open, pulling a cross piece of duct tape with it. The tape pulls on a duct tape patch that's blocking a puncture wound in the 2-liter bottle inside. Once the tape is loose, the bottle explodes violently, blasting a stream of toxic gas directly at the ops manager's face. It is an improvised chlorine bomb. Ops manager has time for one final grimace before the gas fills his nose and mouth and the blood vessels in his lungs begin to pop and dissolve in the acrid chemicals invading his system. He collapses, choking to death, green and bloody-eyed and horribly. Kyle lies motionless next to his writhing form. Gas slowly fills the small room.
I know this is usually not the this is not what you say after you hear something like that, but this all looks good to me.
Great. 103?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that usually like the climax moment you have agreed upon well in advance, so there's not much to change. Yeah. We owe it from the beginning, people, let it be known. We were like, the villain should get his face melted off. Interior, player locker room, simultaneous. The crowd and the thugs are at a breaking point. Riot is in the air. Thugs are nearly to the father. He rushes the end of his speech. Father, so let us pray the Lord's forgiveness for our sins and for those trespasses we may make against those who trespass against us. Amen. Crowd from many directions at once. Amen. This was clearly a pre-planned signal, as the majority of able-bodied folks in the crowd immediately attack their captors. Chaos erupts. Dell and his group crush two thugs by toppling the row of lockers. A thug fires wildly into the crowd. Several civilians hit. People tackle the thug and strip his gun away. Screams, more gunfire throughout. The priest huddles by the kids, whom he and others are gathering behind another row of lockers. He shields the children with his body. Another spray of bullets comes by and rips the priest up, dropping him dead in an instant. Marlene has the recovered rifle and stands on a bench to get a view above the crowd. She begins to pick off the thugs she can. She headshots one, narrowly misses another. Then they start to fire back, and she dives back into the crowd. People in the crowd are subduing the thugs in any way they can, or else helping the wounded and elderly to their feet and out of the fray. The force of the town is a tidal wave. A hurricane? A hurricane? Trademark David Bell?
Yeah.
One thing.
By the way, everyone imagine that Rock You Like a Hurricane is being played. They're at the scene.
Here I am. Headshot. Child killed. Rock you like a hurricane. Face melts. Yeah. One thug, in a panic and facing the onrushing crowd, pulls the pin on a grenade. In this small space, it would almost certainly be a massacre, but Dell, leading his people, tackles the thug and they both go down hard on top of the grenade. It explodes, killing Dell and the thug and blowing those at the edge of the crowd back into the locker room. This seems to be the final straw for the few thugs who remain mobile, and they start to sprint for the exits. A few townspeople give chase with the recovered rifles in hand, but most folks are aiding the wounded. There are plenty. It's a gruesome scene. And yet, far more of the hostages are on their feet than laid out, and all over, people scurry to help anyone they can wherever they see a need. Children cry in the arms of parents. Strangers perform CPR on fallen neighbors. Others distribute boxes of rations and thermal blankets. On the edge of the crowd, Marlene has a rifle raised and is edging around the corner of the corridor to see what's become of Kyle and the ops manager. She gags as the chlorine cloud reaches her. Halfway down the hall, Kyle sits up against the wall, coughing badly, shot to hell, broken-handed, and with a blood trail behind him leading all the way back to the office. He looks at Marlene. Kyle, bomb worked. Marlene, tears rising. Good, our thing too. Kyle, good. Kyle collapses in a coughing fit, unconscious. Marlene drops her gun, holds her breath, and rushes to him, lifting his body over her shoulder and bringing him back to the main area. She shouts to the group, Marlene, we gotta move. Everyone move. There's a gas leak. Help the wounded. Help the wounded. Bring supplies. She continues to repeat orders as another person from the crowd comes and, without a word, helps her bear Kyle aloft. Person, is he dead? Marlene, don't think so. Should be, but I don't think so. Person, someone's already on their way to get help. Should be a working phone at the police station. Marlene, what, on foot? Roads still probably aren't passable. Person, no, a horse if you can believe it. Someone found a horse wandering around with the name Lola painted on her. Damnedest thing. Abe's gonna make me cut that. Marlene smiles in spite of herself and joins the crowd as they move to safety together. End of movie, except the denouement, which is the next part, so that's why it fades. All right, so end of climax. Back to the top of 103.
Yeah.
What are your precious little thoughts?
I love bomb worked, good, our thing too. Do you think we should point out that the only reason that he survived is because he was not really breathing?
Because of the drugs. I was wondering, it also slows the flow of blood, so you lose blood, you bleed out less quickly. It could also go in the next scene. Like, it could go in your segment as they reminisce about his horrible, like, he will never be the same again. He's crippled in several ways, but...
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, same scene, a woman who is many, many meters away, gagging, cloud reaches her, and a man walking out of that room, coughing, but face not melting.
Yeah, well, right, and the argument is, which has some medical backing, I'm sure it wouldn't really work, but it is a movie after all, but it is medically accurate that you bleed out less quickly if you're drugged up and in a state of sedation, and you breathe more shallowly. So our argument was actually, when he surrenders, because earlier in the film, people who are not caught up, he has been in tremendous pain, but he's been fighting through it, and he finally allows the nurse to give him the last dose of painkillers available because he's decided to surrender. And the argument is that the only reason he miraculously survives this is because you can reason. Well, the ops manager was fully conscious, breathing heavily, excited, talking at length, and therefore the poison affected him greatly, whereas Kyle was low to the ground, so the gas didn't hit him as quickly, and he bled out less quickly, and he breathed more shallowly. I mean, it's stronger than LA Confidential, where Russell Crowe just lives because sometimes people get shot and they live, you know? Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes and no. I feel like it's weird if we have to give that many caveats when we're confronted with that question, and I feel
I don't
like
think
there's
you need, or like,
elusive
personally,
or elegant way of doing it just here by
sure,
saying like
I could just
something
have
literally
people
along
figure it out for
the
themselves. I don't even
yeah,
need it to be said.
but I
Is
think
what I'm
something
saying.
as short as like uh Kyle holding his breath or Kyle barely able to breathe is enough to me to be like, oh, he wasn't breathing, it's fine. And
Okay.
obviously the gas didn't directly hit his contact his flesh, but like if Marlene is having a coughing fit, no amount of drugs, the proximity to that chlorine bomb would make him fine. The
Not
only thing that
fine,
could
but
justify it, yeah,
there's
but the only
space
thing
between fine and dying, you know.
I mean, he should still be like his eyes should still
be like
you know,
fucked up, yeah.
yeah, like, and I don't want to have that.
Do you
Because
think it would help? So at the end of 102, Kyle's lies motionless, and the gas fills the room. That was supposed to bring tension, where you're like,
right.
oh, the gas is getting lower and lower to the ground, and Kyle's lying there. And then I did the thing where you cut away, and off screen he dragged himself to the hall. Do you think this would all be clearer if we see him like gasp, choke, and like start to slowly drag himself forward at the end of 102?
I like that best if you had you had two things which are not really even full sentences. They can be probably placed somewhere, which is that the whether or not it's true or not, I feel like it's fine if the chlorine gas hovers to the top of the room and because he's crawling he gets out,
right,
kind of thing.
Yeah, that was my intention. You just need to make
right.
it explicit,
So
yeah.
I think just spell that out a little bit more. It doesn't
fall
have to. I don't
around.
want to fuck your. Yeah. I don't want to fuck the out of that scene with too much exposition, but as long as we just plant, yeah, rising to the ceiling.
What's it called? Soldier crawl? What's the thing where you crawl with your
Prone.
elbows? Whatever. Start forward, forward, and to crawl. Period. The end. How's that?
Yeah. After a few beats, he gas chokes and starts to crawl.
Paragraph break in between.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, back to 103.
Yes.
Does that make...
That moves me up to...
That makes it okay with bomb work, through bomb work.
Yeah, I don't think we have to do anything there.
Cool.
Is he dead? We should have a person.
Okay. Well, Tobias is dead. Who else from
Dell's dead.
Hector would not help carry a body. Sandra's dead. Everyone's dead, man.
Raleigh. It's kind of cool to have a kid be this.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because he's like a 13-year-old kid, right?
Yep. Is that 2 L's or 1 L? I forget how you spelled it.
1 L.
Raleigh. Raleigh.
Yeah.
Raleigh.
EIGH. Yeah.
Yeah. I just said it wrong. Raleigh materializes from the crowd and, without a word, helps her bear Kyle aloft. Yep, Raleigh's the one character that we have emotional investment in that hasn't had an end thing, so this is useful. Good call.
Plus, he's had this arc of being a support player anyway.
Yeah.
And we didn't check in with him during this whole thing.
And it's cool that he is also limping, because remember he has the splint from the basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
He still limps. Is he dead? No, that should be, but I don't think so. Someone's anyway. Oh yeah. So people who are listening at home, one of the jokes about this is almost in the way that the Expendables, they're like comically badass, and it's an action movie, but it's like stupidly. Our guy is stupidly a Boy Scout. He's quite literally a Boy Scout. He's an ex-Marine, and he's a hardcore Christian, and he's a horse rancher. And these things are dispensed up top all in a row to sort of be like, fuck you, this is the movie, like, get on board with this guy. He's Captain America, basically. So one of the things is, in the hurricane, he spray paints his horse with his phone number and her name, which is a thing you can do in inclement weather, because horses can survive better than you trying to drive them in a trailer through inclement weather. And anyway, I think we doubled up. I have the horse romantically come back in this scene, and Abe, who wrote the next scene, has the horse also romantically come back. So we have to decide when the horse comes back.
I'm gonna fight for mine.
That's fine.
That's the symbolism.
Fine.
This is I do think that you open up a good chain of dialogue though with what on foot roads possibly aren't passable, but I don't know how a single horse.
Well, because all they're trying to do is get to the nearest working place that has a phone line that's like like the police station would also have a sat phone that is a hard line for emergencies. Right. So they're just sending one person on a horse through the rubble was my idea, but I don't care.
Right. I wonder if people are even going to have this question. The other thing is we can totally just make it a single line.
No, it doesn't need to be answered. You could just say the storm probably, you can assume. Well, the storm probably died down, that there were enough people who were brave enough to be like, fuck it, I'm going. Kyle needs help. We're going to go. And they went out into the storm. So I would just advocate delete the whole. I think the scene should end with should be, but I don't think so. Fade too.
Okay, yeah.
No? Did I overcut? You think, Abe, you think.
I'm just thinking if it's too... No, it's not, because the director would know to make him we gotta move, everyone move, there's gas leak, show the more community doing stuff. I'm just like, is it too close to the end? Because there's some movies where, like, the end of the climax moves on to the fade out when you put a stopwatch to most blockbusters. There's like a sweet spot of like about 2 minutes, 90 seconds to 2 minutes of screen time before it's like have the fade out. There's other movies that have it so that like the person is shot, fade out, and those always felt clunky to me.
Right.
I'm just wondering if
if
we're the latter,
feel like
not
the director should be good enough at pacing to know that. Right. Like, also, I didn't write, when the ops manager opens the thing that's going to melt his face off, it should probably be in slow motion, or he should at least direct the blocking that it's paced out. But the director should know that shit. They're the director.
Right. Yeah, I know. I just don't. It's the invisible hand of the right.
Right. Of course, you can always control it. That's what I love about it.
There's enough a meal for them to have. I think they do, because like if they feel like it's not enough time in pacing, it can have a prolonged shot of like Marlene looking at the community and being like not like nodding, but like just seeing
and
all
just
of
the activity of people gathering and heading out of the location of their oppression. Okay. It should be like 30. Myself. I agree. Yeah. They moved to safety together. I don't know what. Neighbors helping neighbors. And then I think it's redundant because we're about to do a news montage that is also hammering that point home. So I think we should move on. All right.
I think we can move on. All right, this is me.
Can we take a bathroom break?
Yeah.
I need one.
All right.
It's 4:25.
We missed
I have to tend to, which if people don't know is set term for shit. So Can we say 4:40?
Yeah, if you want to keep the stream going.
The stream will not turn off. It'll
I
just
can
be
answer
silent for
questions.
15 minutes, and then I'll be back.
15 minutes, yeah.
Or earlier. If you're going to stay on, I'll just come back when I'm done.
Yeah, I was going to stay on.
Oh, okay. Then just buy time. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now I want everyone to imagine poop coming out of Michael Swaim's horrible butthole. Because that's where we're at now. Now, this is a good time to look at if there's any questions that people have about the screenplay. We are now at the place where this is the denouement. This is the ending where we all just go, oh, end of movie. Did things work out for them? Did it not? How is things? That's this scene. So we're almost done. Hey, Jose, thanks, Small Beans Dudes. I want to say thank you for the laughs and great times y'all gave me. Thank you, man. Love that you're with us. You guys are rad. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Oh yeah, this would be a good as place as any. There's 25 people watching. To announce we got some things in the pipelines. So yeah, we're still doing our 7 to 8 podcasts every now and then. Twice to 3 times a week. So that's still there for the Patreon and stuff. But we're also working on a video sketch that should have Cody and Katie in it, and it's like just a normal, I don't want to give it away, but it has to do with fucking pumpkins, and that will just be like real quick and dry, kind of like reminiscent of the old work we did with Agents of Cracked, where it's just like single camera running kind of stuff, just because we can't afford anything else. But yeah, so the script's already written. I think we're going to be shooting it probably closer to the middle to later parts of this month. And then hopefully in May. What else we got? We got an audio sketch show that we're going to do. Kind of like, because we realized if you've been following Small Beans, we haven't done an extra for a while because of how time consuming it was for like how little it did for us in terms of content, even though we still wanted it. So we were like, you know what, to revive this and have like not a podcast, but have a piece of audio work that was like people doing sketches, like a internet, radio hour kind of thing, with sketches as like a sketch show, like a Mr. Show or something like that, but audio format. We're getting scripts for that and gonna put together like a 22-minute thing that hopefully we come out with every now and then. That's just like a sketch. I don't know what you call it. A sketch safari of sketches. We're doing that. We're doing the screenplay. After this is done, we're going to write another screenplay, and hopefully once we get to the rough draft format of that, we'll actually do this all again. But that may be in a few months. If you patronize us or follow us on Twitter, we'll announce that when that's happening, just like we do now with this one.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Cool.
Yeah.
I was just biding time explaining Small Beans projects.
Blasted it fast. Well, you can read now if you want.
All right.
Actually, wait. Before we do that, I want to do one thing.
You have to take another shit.
Take 4 more shits. No, I want to hop right to the top and just make sure our slugs match. So because they're corresponding pieces, I would love it if you wouldn't mind if I take the formatting of my title header for the news montage at the top and make yours match that format.
Sure.
That's all. Cool.
Yeah, no, that doesn't bother me at all.
Montage, but not coverage of the hurricane. Coverage of... Don't do that. Fucking
aftermath of
idiot.
hurricane?
Everyone can see you fucking up. They hate you. They all hate you. News coverage of the aftermath. It works for me.
Yeah.
People know what aftermath we mean. The movie. The aftermath of the movie. Go ahead.
Okay. Aftermath. A young blonde Evelyn Veer delivers a broadcast over a blue star-spangled backdrop with somber gravitas. Evelyn, it's been almost 2 weeks since the horrifying terrorist attack during one of the year's most violent hurricanes. Aerial footage of roads and homes partially flooded, cars abandoned, and fallen trees. B-roll of the streets. News footage revealing the damage of the town. It's motionless, save a small dog with an injured paw hobbling away from a news camera. Community members and actual FEMA specialists lifting up the "Welcome to Bowling Green, Florida" road sign, like the writing faded and mud-soaked. Evelyn, tragedy shook the citizens of Bowling Green in Florida's Hardee County. The community, taken hostage by 25 armed men, fought and detained their assailants. Footage of the interior of the stadium, the large hole in the window of the stands, ripped clothing and bags in piles from when FEMA thugs removed them from the townspeople. Evelyn, the story has taken hold of the hearts of the American public as both a testament to the resilience of American community and as a battleground for the political debate over the issue of gun control. Protests on the street of anti-gun rallies being confronted by Second Amendment freedom advocates or activists. A small bomb is released by the riot police. The events that took place in the local college football stadium have shocked the entire nation. It left 4 dead and 10 wounded. Back in the studio, on one side of Evelyn is Dell, dead and resurrected.
Giant exploded hole in his gut.
So I think that obviously we should just make it
Evelyn is just doing a local news piece about
with Mark Holquist. So I'll just try to you can be editing it, but on the fly I'll adjust that so my voice doesn't line up with the thing. But
okay,
instead of on one side, Evelyn with a man in a FEMA polo shirt, his hair half gray, Mark Holquist, 50s. Evelyn, I'm joined here by the Mark Holquist, head of disaster field training operations at FEMA. Mark, thank you. Evelyn, we brought Mark in to have a frank discussion on how this would have happened and what we're doing in the future to prevent it. This whole thing needs to be rewritten, so let's just do this. Because Mark isn't doing anything here.
You suck, Mark.
And this is from a previous draft where Dell did not explode via grenade. So what do you want to do with this interview? Because I just wanted to, obviously we've done all the wrap-up of, yes, the entire nation, people are wounded. We get the sum up because we're spoon-feeding the end to people.
I still think there should be a couple more references in the across the page to the community helping itself rather than being helped by the government.
Yeah, and maybe rather...
Hello? You cut out.
Hello?
Yep,
maybe back. That instead of an interview, instead of cutting back to the studio.
Yeah.
The only thing I miss about it is that these things always turn into punditcy, and you got one person on one side and one person on the other side, and they're talking it out. And that is, I wanted to poke holes in that, but that can be a different project entirely. It doesn't have to be here. So let's just delete the dialogue between... But I'm just looking at Evelyn's lines here and seeing if there's anything that matters, and I don't think there is. I think we just keep hitting keep unpacking the imagery.
It's the victory lap for the community helping itself. And I think the one thing I would add is maybe the last... Okay, so hold on. Going back to the top. A young blonde anchor woman, Evelyn Veer, 30s, delivers a broadcast over Blue Star Spangled Backdrop with summer gravitas. Yep. No, it's 2 weeks. B-roll of the decimated neighborhood. I changed that. Or just minor language tweak. That's okay. Fine. News footage. I'm not going to say reveals. I'm just going to say shows, if that's cool.
Yep.
Damage to the town. It's motionless, save for a small dog with an injured paw hobbling away from the news camera. So here's an opportunity. At the end of that, you could say this sucks and we don't have to do it, but you could say, save for a small dog with an injured paw hobbling away from the news camera, a civilian comes into frame and approaches the dog. You know what I mean? Like putting in I think we should put in a little few more details like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that needs to be there, but that's an opportunity for one.
Is there anything in mining or setting up the next scene in terms of like saying like people were left homeless, parents and children separated, families separated from their pets?
Right.
The reason why is that just the idea that like, oh yeah, the pets all kind of made it, and just to set up so it's not a surprise, not like it would be
coming.
that a horse will arrive,
Yeah.
a week later.
Okay, now I am gonna say a civilian, because then that's cool foreshadowing. Comes into frame and coaxes the dog over with a treat. And then I think you're right, like something like you just said. So what I would do, are you watching the stream?
Yeah.
What I would do is Tetris this Evelyn line that I just highlighted up above the where I just put the gap, and then fill in the part there with what you just said, which is like, now neighbors are helping neighbors rebuild while pets are separated from and kids are separated from. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
To me, it would be the Gravi AP style would have it that like it would start off with families being separated from each other, or it would be like children separated from their parents, families separated from their pets, and then but the community is coming together and yada 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 yada.
Yeah. Two. Let's see, I actually want to build emotion, so separated from owners, parents remain separated from children. And then here's a big pitch, but so this is a big pitch, but what about, and while government support trickles in, it remains up to this resilient community to rebuild. I don't think to help rebuild. Pets are separated from owners. Parents remain separated from children, some permanently. And then a picture of Sandra. Because, like, I feel like, if you follow me, the local news would focus on the juicy bits. Like, this person died, and they had an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Isn't that tragic?
Yeah. It would. Yeah, it would.
Okay, cool.
The only sneaky suspicion I have about this, and I just want to put it in your head, is that in the next scene, we actually have more of a continual discussion between Del and Mark, which obviously I'd take their points and put it into Evelyn's like sign off. And I think that a good thing to have, it's also, we're cutting from what's on TV to a TV playing it, and Kyle is watching it, and he's watching them talk about it. But now to me, that would be her juicy ending. So Evelyn might want it, like, it might be cool to have on screen literally as we cut back to Kyle, the image of all of the people who died.
Okay, in that case, I'm doing some Tetrising, and if you look at the stream, I think you'll agree. So now it would go B-roll of the decimated neighborhood. Footage, I don't need news footage. Footage shows the damage to the town. It's motionless save for a small dog with an injured paw hobbling away from the news camera. A civilian comes into frame and coaxes the dog over with a treat. Evelyn continued. Tragedy shook the citizens of Bowling Green in Florida's Hardy County. The community, taken hostage by 25 armed men, fought back, and I feel like she would say were able to detain their assailants. Does that bother you?
No.
Community members and actual FEMA specialists lifting up the Welcome to Bowling Green, Florida road sign. The writing faded and mud-soaked. Evelyn continued. The events that took place in the local college football stadium have shocked the entire nation. It left 4 dead and 10 wounded. Are we sure that's accurate? Is that the death count?
No, it's not, because
it's gone up significantly.
So we have the priest, we have Del, we have
Tobias.
We have Sandra.
Sandra.
We have the FEMA representative.
Yes, which is one guy and then a Jeep full of a number of people we never see. So let's say 2. at random. That gives us some like wiggle room.
Yeah. So I'd say
7, 8. It left 8
7 or
dead.
8 dead.
Well, wait. Do you count in a situation like this? Would the news count the perpetrators killed? I think they would.
I think they would,
because they would go like in a tragic
Loss of
standoff at
life
the
as
bank
opposed
that
to who's
left
on-
that left
yeah.
20 dead. Yeah. So let's also count how many FEMA guys were killed plus the ops
Well,
manager.
I think it's better to do a reverse. We said 25. There's 25 FEMA representatives, and let's say in the last brawl, the village only allowed you to survive, or the village, like
The village took
I
out,
think-
let's say, 10.
yeah. I mean, if you want me to, I can count who's dead on the FEMA. I just feel like it is. We also have wiggle room because at
Because
the
of the
end,
Jeep is
people are
unseen,
bashing their shit in like their
Right.
faces, and
Right,
when the
right.
community's taking back the athletic center, it's like, yeah, they might have killed some people.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say 15 plus 8. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
23. We upped it from 4 dead to this movie left 23 dead.
Well, the 4 count was also before we added FEMA, which is
Yes.
2/3 of the number at least.
The events that took place in local college shocked and left 23 dead, and usually the number of wounded, because they'll count any little sprain, because the news wants to jack up the number. So it should be significantly higher. So I'd say like, I don't know, and more than 50.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we said it was like a town of 100, or there was 100 people there, and they probably count like hurricane related and
Yeah,
just to
so like
beef up
half the
that number.
people got injured, even in counting sprained ankles
So
and shit.
say yeah.
Okay, the events that took
23
place in the local college football stadium have shocked the entire nation. It left 23 dead and more than 50 wounded. Footage of the interior of the stadium, large hole and blah blah blah, everything you said before. So then I swapped these two, that's where it changed. Evelyn, the story has taken hold of the... I would like to change the American to this rural.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and then my last question is, the gun control angle kind of surprises me coming in at the end. I know we mentioned AR-15s as a nod to how easy they are to get.
I think this is a comment on how cycles stretch.
Okay,
to
my
make an
worry
issue
is the
seem more
audience
relevant.
will think the movie's trying to say something about gun control.
We'll think
which
we're
it's
talking
not
about
really.
it. Yeah, I thought about that. That might be a problem. I mean, we can cut it, but it would create a political debate about having mercenaries come in. Like, to me, it would be gun control because it would be about how did these guys get guns? These are the talking points of the pundits. Would be like, how did we allow this to happen? How are they? Well, it's all the same shit. You allow assault weapons.
I agree, but I think it would diffuse the feeling that it's like out of left field if she said issues instead of issue. Does that make so? Like,
sure.
For political debate over the issues of climate change. I mean, what would you call it to be more concise? Government response to emergencies, like FEMA, emergency relief.
Yeah, emergency relief.
So for political debate over the issues of climate change, emergency relief, and gun control, that saves it for me because it's like, yeah, I would do all those things, and it doesn't feel like the director is trying to be like, okay, 95% through the movie, I want to talk about gun control now.
No, it's more of just that's what people would
That's
talk
what the
about.
news would do.
Like, I know we're all climate change, but why isn't no one talking about guns? And it's like, oh, we got another 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah. I'm going to change being confronted to confront. And then I think we're ready to move on. If you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts Hector and Sandra's death photo at the end so that Kyle will feel extra bad, which I like.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle's being confronted with images of people he feels like he could have saved.
Yeah.
Or he killed by intervening.
He killed Sandra. He wanted her dead from square one.
So before you do that, let's just, so I can read consistently, let's just delete the Del Mark stuff. Did you already do that? No, you haven't.
No.
So go down before I read it. I don't think that there's anything that is said that has an advantage now that we cleaned up that stuff. So I think it's just Kyle glares at the knife and doesn't look back at the television, and then
I agree.
We have
Oh.
and then he turns the TV off. The only thing that I would admit is that if we feel like we're damning people, like, does the movie gonna feel like we're railing FEMA at this moment to say like, and they didn't even have a response? But I think it's more important that Kyle turns the TV off.
Yeah.
So maybe FEMA did, but we don't need to be privy to it. This is more of a version trying to make kind of FEMA do a thing where we're like, but FEMA's trying to save faith a little bit, because that's always what, you know, everyone's doing at all times, is saying we're blameless. I don't think that's important. I think it's more the personal struggle about Kyle. So I think he sees the images, tries to peel an orange.
Okay. So
I'll read that. I'll just keep going.
Read it.
Let me just sync it up so that Kyle looks out of his window. Okay, cool. So 105, Kyle's kitchen day. Kyle watches the broadcast on television, dining room table. He struggles as he tries to peel an orange with his wrapped hand. In his sink, water drips slowly onto a kitchen knife. He glares at the knife. He turns the TV off. Kyle has left the kitchen, leaving on the counter a remote and an uneaten orange. 106.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. 106. Kyle looks out of his 107? No, it's 106.
It's 6 for me. I'm gonna change looks to gazes if that's okay.
Maybe it's because we deleted.
Want me to blank and re-add numbers again and see what happens?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Script format options. No scene numbers. Script format options. Both sides.
That looks like it's good. Or wait, no.
No, but last time it scanned from the top of the document to the bottom and it took a while, so wait a minute and see if it changes. I'm going to check our page count real quick.
Alright.
People listening, 110 is pretty standard for an action screenplay, so we're hoping for 110. We are at the bottom of 106. God, we're good.
Yeah, we always call it, don't we?
I don't even mean that we're good writers. We just always call how long something will be and then we hit it. Which, if you've worked in internet content especially a lot, most people don't do. Most people write 5 extra pages because they can't help themselves. We keep it short. We keep it tight.
We keep it tight, dude. All right. It's actually fine on my...
It's 106 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Sorry.
106, Kyle's family room day. Kyle looks out the window. He sees a stable in shambles. A few horses huddled together in the one standing pen. The ground is covered with palm leaves. He looks at his truck's tires, which have sunk into the mud of his driveway. Kyle, damn it. Just then, a blue sedan drives up to his home. Marlene steps out, carrying her medical bag.
Yeah.
All right. 107. Exterior porch day. The overcast skies paint the landscape in soft light. There's no wind. Kyle looks to his left, seeing his neighbor walk outside with a large bucket. Dumps it on his lawn and walks back inside. Kyle looks to his right, seeing a damaged abandoned home of Sandra. Marlene quietly works on his leg. Finishing the examination, she gestures to his hand. He offers it. She starts to unspool the bandage. Kyle. Dell was on TV!
Sandra.
Oh, yeah. Sandra was on TV. Was just on TV. Yeah, that's much cleaner, actually, for the beats. Sandra was just on TV.
This scene is... I don't know if it's worth reading.
It's not.
Or like we should work on it. We should
it's
go
just
through it.
It's just right 2 Marlene lines.
Too much shit has been changed.
It should just be. It's not. I don't think it affects much till the end. It's just after it should read Kyle, Sandra was just on TV, and Marlene should go. Yeah, she's popped up a few times or something like that. Like,
okay.
I've been watching.
Well, can we just hop back to the top of 107? Just because I know we talked about this, I think Kyle looks to his right, seeing a damaged seeing the. I think it should just be the abandoned home of Sandra or the damaged. Pick
Oh,
your
it's not
adjective.
gonna.
What do you like better?
I like the idea that on his left side he has a neighbor who's alive, and on the right side he has a neighbor who's dead.
No, I agree. I'm saying I don't
Okay.
know if we need both adjectives, damaged and abandoned.
Oh,
I
okay,
like.
yeah.
Do you have a preference between them? I think abandoned.
Abandoned.
Seeing, and I'm going to say Sandra's abandoned home instead of the abandoned home of Sandra.
Yep.
And then I thought, this was your idea actually. Now the way things have shifted around, we should say there's a for sale sign on the lawn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because Hector is basically going to become an orphan, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You sound happy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marlene, oops. Can I upgrade quietly to silently?
Yeah.
Marlene silently works on his leg. Finishing the exam, works on his leg.
Just real quick, it says at the bottom of the first across the page in this scene, D dumps it on the lawn. He dumps it on the lawn.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to change into a period, the comma into a period. Marlene silently works on his leg. Finishing the examination, she gestures to Kyle's hand. He offers it. Is that cool with you?
Yep.
She starts on spool of bandages. Yep. Okay, Sandra was just on TV. Okay, so now what should we do with this? You had an idea.
Marlene should say, yeah, they keep using the same photo.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And then Kyle should, and then these two lines should be deleted.
Should go. Yeah, I like Kyle winces as he sees his hand, right?
I think until the end, it's we're good.
It works
I'm
now?
I'm good to read this because I don't Dell ever again. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive.
Kyle looks away.
Okay.
Okay, you can read from there. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna just back up to Kyle. Sandra was just on TV. Marlene. Yeah, they keep showing the same photo. Kyle winces a bit as he sees his hand. It's infected. Kyle looks away, staying quiet. Marlene. Yeah, I knew it. You need to take the antibiotics. You haven't been putting on the cream I gave you either. Bandage looks 3 days old, Kyle. Kyle. Oh, yeah. Marlene throws the bandage in the trash side. Marlene. How's your head? Kyle. I didn't hit my head. Marlene, shut up. Although that should kind of change because he did get his face bashed in by a bunch of rifles now.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any way I can save the
Say
daughter step, or is it worth it at all?
What do you want to save?
Just the idea that she's like, how's your head? And he takes it to be like, physically my head is fine, but she's asking, no, how's your mental state?
Then I'd say, how's your head? Still in one piece. How's your PTSD?
Well, it's
Something
already
like
in,
that. You know
but
what I mean?
it's if you just say, if it's just I didn't hit my head, it's what you just said. I think
How's your head? I didn't hit my
the scene
head.
might proceed as it would be. It may not need to be solved.
What about, okay then, how's your PTSD? That's what I'm saying. She gets more specific.
You don't want to have the guilty and morose line.
I don't need it. I think the actor should be able to project that.
Okay, cool.
Especially because, like, I can't find Lola is also a sulky line. I think it's established through the dialogue.
I started this whole little back and forth because I didn't like I didn't hit my head.
Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Okay, I thought that was what you were trying to say.
No, I mean, that's why I was asking, do we even need to have Marlene ask, how's your head, and have Kyle, like, not answer it in the right way? I'm like it, but I was just pushing there, like, that's one solution, is we just do that. So,
I made it really, really short and bantery, and I kind of like it, so check the stream and see if you like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Intact?
I like that. Yeah, okay, so Marlene throws the bandage in the trash and sighs. Marlene, how's your head? Kyle, intact. Marlene, okay then. How's your PTSD? Kyle, I can't find Lola. Marlene, your mare? Kyle, yeah. I couldn't pack her up in time, so I had to let her leave. I don't think she's coming back. Marlene, I'm sorry. She can still turn up. They're smart, and you're a good keeper. Kyle's eyes drift back to Sandra's home. Kyle, I keep thinking about our boy, Hector. Marlene, I talked to Walter and Luis. I think they're thinking about taking him in. He's at the Cottons right now. They're taking care of the wake. The funeral was today. Kyle is wounded by this. He looks down at his hands. Tears start to form. Kyle, you know, not one person has talked to me since. No one has walked up to my house, knocked on my door, and spit in my face. No one has thrown a brick into my house. Not that that do much. Above his chair, it's revealed that one of the windows in his home has been shattered. Marlene, is that what you think? You think people hate you? Kyle, I would. If I were Hector, if I were Hector, I walk over here right now, or I walk, what am I reading? If I were Hector, I'd walk over here. If I were Hector, I'd walk over here right after the funeral and ask me to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness. Marlene, my God, Kyle. Kyle stands up. Kyle, I think you should go. Marlene, fuck that. You're clearly very hurt by this. You think the town resents you, Kyle? Kyle walks into his house. Kyle's foyer. Day.
Okay, can we? I have thoughts. Pretty perfect. I want to pitch 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
You're a good keeper. Keeper seems too formal. You're a good
person who keeps horses.
You're a good equestrian. She could still turn up. I would just go, they're smart, period. She could
You're
still
a good
turn
rancher?
up. They're smart.
Okay, yeah.
How about that? Okay. I talked to Walter and Louise. I think they're taking... Yeah, that's all good.
Do you think that we should have her funeral clothing to hammer that home?
I don't think that's necessary, but only because I was going to pitch another thing to hammer it home. Okay, so my pitch is I think many of the windows should be shattered just for comedic effect.
Many of the what?
Okay. Many of his windows should be shattered. It's revealed that many of the windows have been shattered. And then my other pitch is I think Kyle should be injured to the point that he's never going to be in another action movie again. So, like, I would put him in a wheelchair and have it implied that he's not going to be able to walk easily ever again for the rest of his life.
I like that.
Okay, all right. So, at the top, I'm going to add, Kyle looks to his right, seeing Sandra's abandoned home. There's a for sale sign on the lawn. And then I'm going to say, is this too meta? Reveal. He is sitting in a wheelchair. Marlene silently works on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So then at the end, I just want to change Kyle stands up to Kyle silently stares.
Or they should definitely do the thing in movies and TV shows where you just hear the creak, creak, creak.
As he wheels away.
Definitely a great idea.
Beg for forgiveness, my God, Kyle. I think you should go.
Did you get the
what?
Thunder Brent? No, I thought there was something that
Well, at the end it says Kyle walks into his house, and I think it should just be Kyle stays silent until Marlene leaves. Oh no, Kyle has to wheel into his house because in the next scene they're together in his house.
Did you get the Kyle line that he says, I would, if I were Hector, I'd walk over, not her, but here?
Yes.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Just double checking, because that's what's fucked me up.
Yeah. Sorry, I heard a weird noise out front. Okay. My God, Kyle. Kyle silently stares ahead. I think you should go. I think we should cut the line. You are clearly very hurt by this. It's just expository. What do you think?
Yeah.
And then I don't need her to say Kyle at the end of the question either.
No.
Okay. So Kyle maneuvers his chair into his house. Marlene follows. Or, I mean, Kyle maneuvers his chair into his house, period, because, yeah. Well, if you're okay with that, then I'm ready to go to 108.
Yeah, because then the Marlene follows in the next one.
Yeah.
108, interior Kyle's foyer.
Should be continuous. Go ahead.
Continuous. Marlene follows. Marlene, turn around. Kyle slowly does. Just say Kyle does. Or
He does.
Or maybe he doesn't.
No, you can turn in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm just writer jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle does, period. Or doesn't, question mark?
I see.
Marlene, we had to fight back. You encouraged us when we gave up. The whole town is grateful. Kyle, why would Hector? Why would Father? That man was a monster, and I should have seen it. I should have just sat on the damn ground and done nothing. Marlene, so next time, the next town, someone else realizes, oh, hey, I can get away with preying on sufferers. We all know that we need to fight that kind of evil. It needs to be taken out of this world. Kyle, a nice sentiment to a boy without a mother. Marlene, well then, yeah. What you did caused pain. You made choices from that. You made choices from that good place in your heart, and people got hurt. It happens. You're not above feeling that loss, but you are above thinking you did this. He did it. I just am changing it on the flag. Kyle shakes his head, getting angry. Kyle, yeah, he was evil. Yeah, we should stand up to that. But in the end, I was a vigilante that got people killed. Kyle tries to stare down Marlene. He doesn't give ground. Marlene doesn't break eye contact either. They sit in silence for a brief moment. Marlene, when I became a nurse, I knew the body was messy. I didn't particularly like blood. In my first year, I watched an amputation. Before they doped a man on the table, he was having second thoughts. I worked in construction, Doc. Isn't there a way I can keep my foot? And then when he looked over and he saw the tray of saws that would end, it turned into, don't take it, Doc. Please, I'm begging you. I talked to the doctor after his surgery, and he asked him how he deals with that kind of in-your-face visceral pain. How do you have a normal day after that? Kyle leans against the hallway wall. He looks away from Marlene. Marlene, he said, wouldn't you want to take the pain now that you can control over the pain later that you can't? Kyle, isn't there something along the lines of doctors? Isn't there something else with doctors along the lines of first do no harm? Just then, outside the undeniable sound of a horse exhaling. Kyle and Marlene look at each other, then rush outside. Lola has returned. Kyle's paint job barely visible now from the rain. Lola has a large gash in her neck, but the bleeding looks to have stopped. She slowly trots up to the porch, placing her head on the railing. Kyle, oh my God, girl, you're back. He scratches behind her ears and pets her fur. Kyle, what's this? Did you get in an accident, girl? Don't worry, you're back home now. I got you. Marlene, I know this. This is beautiful. After placing his head on Lola, Kyle stands back up. Lola looks around around the damaged farm, then directly at Kyle. Kyle looks at Lola in the eye. His smile turns into so sadness. Marlene allows the silence between these two beasts of burden. And
movie. Okay, so I just think you overwrote in terms of they say stuff that I just have lots of thoughts for deletes. That's it.
Okay.
So tell me what you want to fight for, or I'll go through. So Marlene follows. Marlene turn around. He does. You encouraged us when we gave up. Can I change encouraged to inspired?
Yeah.
Inspired us when we gave up. The whole town is grateful. I like that. I think you should say, why would Hector be, grammatically? Why would Hector be grateful? Is probably even better. Why would Hector be grateful? And then I know, because we're scriptwriters, we've been referring to the priest just as father, but a real human being who knew him and now he's dead
would call him something else.
Would say his name.
Kind of like
so like Father O'Grady or Father whatever. We need to just make up a last name for the priest.
Do you want him to be Irish? I mean, we talked about it.
No, I don't want him to be Irish.
So it can be anything. It could be a last name.
Yeah, I had Mendez at one point in a scene that got cut. Does Mendez bother you?
No.
All right. Boom. Back to 109. We have to fight back. Blah 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 blah. Why would Hector be grateful? Why would Father Mendez? That man was a monster, and I should have seen it. I should have just sat on damn ground and done nothing. I like all that. Oh, actually, okay. So here we get. I think we can cut the line, that man was a monster and I should have seen it. That feels like subtext to me.
Okay, yeah.
I just should have sat on the damn ground. And he's going to say, do
Yep.
no harm. Like, I feel like you already got it across.
Yep.
Marlene, so next time someone else feels, oh, hey, I can get away with preying on the, I think, weak is more colloquial than sufferers.
Yeah.
We all know. So I would just make it, we all need to fight that kind of evil. How do you feel about that? We all need to fight that kind of evil. It needs to be taken out of this world. Nice sentiment for a boy without a mother. No, to a boy with no.
I just wanted to.
What about a hard sentiment? What about a hard lesson for a boy without a mother?
Sure, it takes away the sarcasm, which
Oh, okay.
That
what about
something that
a fine lesson for a boy without a mother?
Yeah, fine lesson is better.
That makes it sarcastic again.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah, what you did caused pain. Period. We're doing this all throughout the script. I like, separating sentences out.
Yeah, it's just
what you did caused pain. You made choices from that good place in your heart, and people got hurt. Yep, it happens. You're not above feeling loss. We are above thinking you did this. He did it. They did it. I like all of that.
Do you think we should capitalize you and you did this? But
Where?
are you above? You're not above feeling that
You're
loss,
above thinking
but you are above thinking you did this.
Yes, capitalized. Yeah, he was evil. I think it should just be like, but ... on the next Kyle line. Because I think it's too on the nose to say I was a vigilante who got people killed. Or it should just be, but what I did got people killed. There's no way around that. I think the word vigilante is too screenplay-ish.
I agree. I like the getting cut off, because that's the thing, is that he's literally, like, he's refusing to acknowledge this point. So when it's like, okay, break down the logic for me, and he's, yeah, all the things you're saying is right, but, and it's just like, yeah, I'm waiting, and then just like, you know what, I'm just gonna,
okay, so just
I refuse to say, I'm gonna gut through this and just stare you down until you leave.
Cool. Marlene doesn't break eye contact either. They sit in silence for a moment. I would like to cut the word brief if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Marlene, when I became a nurse, I knew the body was mad and particularly. Yep. I love that whole anecdote. And asked him how he deals with that kind of in-your-face, visceral pain. Question mark. Just separating the sentence out. Mm-hmm. How does he have a normal day after that? Kyle.
How do you, maybe? Or like...
I agree. How do you?
Like, is she breaking away from the quote? I mean, she's paraphrasing, so...
Kyle. Instead of leans against the wall, I'm going to say sags in his chair, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Slinks in his chair.
He looks away from Marlene. Marlene continued. He said, wouldn't you want to take the pain now that you can't control over the pain later that you can't? Yep, I like that too. I think... Oh, okay, so this is the last place I think cutting will help. I think Kyle should just say, first do no harm. Like, I think that's the whole line. Do you think that people
will get that that's a dig on her sentiment and doctor at the same time?
Okay, then, if you want to be...
I just don't know if it's...
If you want to be accessible, what about...
It's first do no harm is...
It's the Hippocratic Oath. I think a lot of people know that, but...
Yeah, I think a lot of people... But, A, you were married to a nurse or a doctor, so, like, I don't know, it's... We've seen a lot of movies, too, where they reference the first do no harm tactics. So...
Well, then I just think we should shorten it because it sounds clunky. So how about...
I agree.
Isn't your vow first do no harm? How's that for the line?
Sure, yeah.
Or isn't your oath? It should be oath.
Yeah, I feel like this is fine because screenwriters and screen readers or screenplay readers will get it, and some producer might step in down the line
Sure.
and go like, "This needs to be explained more for the wider audience appeal." But this gets past.
Okay,
what we-
just then, outside, the sound of a horse exhaling.
Mhm.
Kyle and Marlene look to each other, then rush outside. Lola has returned. Period, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Kyle's paint job,
comment heavy.
barely visible now from the rain. Me too. Now, I've had to do this to my own sections as well.
Mhm.
But it really helps with impact to just
It's
be like,
because it
why
helps
can't
with
it be separate sentences?
No, it's better, but it's because it was a. I do it because I get into the scene, so I'm like, and then
And then this, and then this, and then this. Yeah.
stream of consciousness, comma, compound sentence, and then clean it up afterwards.
I like that she had an adventure that we never find out about in her own time.
Mhm.
Why did
I mean, it's one of the
sorry everyone on
metaphors.
stream. The Celtics is acting very weird right now.
Save.
Yeah. Do you see what's going on? It's weird.
Oh, you must have gotten into the zoom issue, like.
Right, but like
are
it's
you-
sticky keys. The sticky keys started zooming. I fixed it.
Okay, cool.
Just then, outside, the sound of a horse exhaling. Yep, Lola has returned. Kyle's paint job now barely visible from the rain. Lola has large gash, but the bleeding looks to have stopped. She slowly trots up to the porch, placing her head. Can I say, now that he's in a wheelchair, lowering her head to Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
Lowering her head to Kyle's. Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, I'll
Yeah,
be back.
just,
Scratches her
yeah,
behind the
there's no
ears and
railing.
pets her fur. Kyle continued. What's this? Question mark. Space. Did you get in an accident, girl? Don't worry, you're back home now. I got you. I think Marlene's line is too cheesy. I would just cut it. I think I got you is good enough.
You don't think Marlene would want to try to take this? I mean, I'm just trying to think of what Marlene's trying to prove.
I could put it across the page. It's like Marlene walks up to Lola's flank and starts to brush her, or like also pet her. I don't need her to say, and scene. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the fundamental question is, what's the scene about, and how do we want to resolve it? Because we have two things going on. We've closed the book on the community being like, the community is strength, and that's what the point of the screenplay is that in the community, does not the hand feel what, the eye, et cetera.
But then I think the point of this
and
scene
we close the book of it. The point of this scene is opening up a new.
In order to help the community, this particular person had to give more than others, and to the point where he gave of himself to the point that he's forever injured and he thinks he sucks and he's going to live under a cloud for the rest of his life because the horrible shit he saw. But even that kind of person can have a connection with someone, or an animal in this case, that gets them out of that. Like, nice moments. Just because the most horrible thing happened in your past doesn't mean you have no nice moments in your future.
No, it's definitely like,
it's this drop of hope at the end of the thing.
PTSD and like, for like patients of grief, they always talk about having,
But to me, the last line of your screenplay being, "This is beautiful," is too close to Inglourious Bastards. This might be my best movie I ever made. I'm Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I didn't even think of it. But yeah, I see what you mean. Because it's how it reads. It's not how I meant to say it. Okay, so what you're just saying, cut it. Like,
I'm saying cut it and make it an action.
I'm usually a big fan of that.
And I would also argue, or like, I think we should consider, should he say "I got you" or "we got you"?
No, I like your show don't tell strategy. I don't know what that wisdom can never be. I don't need a line now.
No, but he says "I got you," and I'm wondering. So this is now the very last line of our screenplay. So I just want to give it special scrutiny. Is there any chance it should be "we got you" instead to harken to the community thing?
That is equally cheesy to me than my line.
You're right.
I would just say she just got, like you said. Let's just keep it in action.
Okay.
And she just comes up and starts petting, like, so she can walk down the stairs and of the porch and start petting its, like, I don't know, its mane or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, then I'm just going to change this sentence to Kyle places his head against Lola's. Lola surveys the damaged farm, then looks back at Kyle. Kyle looks Lola in the eyes, period. Smile turns into a stoic sadness. Marlene allows? Marlene, I feel like allows isn't quite right. Marlene lives in the silence. Marlene observes. Marlene respects. Maybe allows is the best. I can't think of a better.
I think allows, because she was just on a high horse about a certain point, and then she's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna allow this healing to take hold.
Yeah.
Which that can be it.
Marlene walks Lola's flank and starts to pet her as well. Does not need to capitalize. Kyle places his head against Lola's. Lola then surveys the damaged farm, trotting off a ways, and then looks back at Kyle. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Lola surveys the damaged farm, trotting off ways, and then looks back at Kyle. Kyle stares Lola in the eye. No, stares. Kyle, I don't like how many times we said looks. Kyle and Lola share
find
a look?
Each other's eyes.
No,
find each other's eyes.
Lola, hold each other's gaze. Is that okay?
Yeah.
His smile fades.
That's enough for me. I don't like the stoic sadness.
His smile fades, period? Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't... I think it's more that he had a smile and then came back. Like, it's the idea that he was constantly not smiling. And then
can I add the adjective cryptic to the noun silence? His smile fades. Marlene allows a moment of cryptic
what do you think
silence
it means?
between these two beasts of burden.
Dick.
To me, I think it's important that...
We don't know how he's feeling.
We're saying that it's not fully possible to understand how he's feeling, what he's gone through. It's going to take a long time. He has a lot of conflicting emotions. Yes, in this moment, he's happy the horse is back, but then the horse sees that its home is destroyed, and he's like, now I'm also sad again.
Yeah.
It's going to be a continuous unfolding of complicated emotions for him for
I would try to find a way to say that instead of cryptic, just because it'd be like, oh, did you not know what you meant by that beat? You just felt like you needed that beat. Because it's very thought out, but it's true. I avoided talking about it because I was hoping that people were just going to glean the idea of, like, depression isn't something, or sadness isn't something that you are just sad now. It is.
And just because your horse... Right, that's what I'm saying is, just because you're depressed doesn't mean you're not happy when your horse comes home, but also just because your horse comes home doesn't mean you're not depressed anymore. Yeah.
Like, so he has... So what... Maybe he looks in his eyes, his smile fades and returns.
Nah.
Nah, just his smile fades.
His smile fades. Marlene allows a moment of silence between these two beasts of burden, and that works for me.
Works for me.
Okay. Well, that's a screenplay, everyone.
Congratulations, Michael Swain.
Congratulations, Dave Epperson.
Yeah. Do you want to answer any? We've been ignoring chat.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there's some things that I noticed. There might be things that people were like arguing for. Not like.
Well, first and foremost, we'll be doing a live reading of the whole movie sometime soon. But you should check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/smallbeans, for details on that.
Pop culture constantly references the Hippocratic Oath. I feel like, I know, yeah. But do no harm. Yeah, I know it's not the Hippocratic Oath. That's right, but it is an oath that doctors talk about in pop culture. So it's accessible without introduction. Thank you for that, Jonathan.
Thank you, Kalisha and Z, for tuning in at 6 a.m. from Singapore.
Oh, damn.
Is this the furry script? Nope, that's a totally different movie script that's already completed. That's
Yeah.
different. This
Peter
is the
was
next
wondering,
one.
you guys are into some dark shit. Have you ever considered doing light comedy? Yeah. This one is kind of, we're writing a spec for a specific house that specializes in this kind of thing.
Yep.
We have comedy scripts. We're just trying to enter the screenplay writers is, what do you want? You need a comedy? We're fucking nailing that. What do you want? You want like a hard-nosed detective thing? We can do that, no problem. So we're getting like widening our base and making it
Yep.
like, it'll always be there'll be funny moments, but like we wanted to really do a low budget blockbuster.
Oh, so if you're just tuning in at this moment, the climax of a film, even a comedy action film, is traditionally the serious part. The funny parts come more towards the first half of the movie.
It is dark, though. We went pretty dark with it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson should play the Hurricane. I think you're right about that. And you should cast our movie.
Will you be reciting a chicken poem over the intercut scene like in The Sopranos? Yes. Absolutely. Have you guys seen Murder Party? No. Why a trash can? Via no chicken. Via duct.
Nail it.
The phone sat because it couldn't sprint. Alright, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's very old school.
Women lugging injured men around, I'm on board. It's called a fireman's carry. Woman can easily carry a full-grown man if they're trained in a fireman's carry. I'm pretty sure chlorine is heavier than air, but also it's an action movie, so do what you want. I agree with that. Thank you. Chlorine is about 2.5 times heavier than air. The vapor from the liquefied chlorine would sink to the ground, not float to the surface. That's why it was used in trenches in World War I. That's great to know. Maybe we will have to change that. Cool factoid. Thank you. Military crawl. That's right. I thought there was like some more casual term, but when you use your elbows to crawl forward on your belly and you just let your legs drag, I guess that's called a military crawl. You got anything? I'm going from the top to the bottom. It looks like you're going from the bottom to the top.
I'm going from bottom to top, and our peens will touch.
Our octagonal peens, which is canon.
That's canon. Oh.
I'm not thrilled with the chlorine. It works on account... Wait, I'm not thrilled with the chlorine. It works on account of everyone knowing you can make it with bleach and ammonia, but it's not the right weapon for the scene. Well, Hatfield CW, I agree that we are like an action movie in the sense that some of the things are not true, but if you have an idea for a better improvised weapon based on supplies found in a college football stadium, please go ahead. Yeah, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I mean, that would be great.
I'm not too worried about it. Like, I'm more worried sure that the chlorine and ammonia thing is consistent with the bomb than I am about how it actually operates in like a room setting if it hovers to the top or bottom.
I know that it's true that it does.
That's like gunshots being having silence and stuff. It's
I found in the anarchist cookbook and stuff, there is... That would make an improvised chlorine bomb, and it would be under pressure, and it would spray out.
Right, and
it would choke you to death, and you would die. I don't think it's true that it would float to the top, but that's okay.
I think that's okay. I think that works. People will go, ha, doesn't do that. I'll be like, yes. But
yes, it is a very old school action movie, coffee and a book, and if you, when you tune in for the live reading, I think you'll see that even more. The first half is very much like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon type stuff. That darn Kyle, right? True. Horse of Nature would be better than Force of Nature. I agree. Yeah, dude, we should do a sequel where you find out Lola was out killing terrorists the whole time, just kicking them in the head.
Yeah.
Do no harm is technically actually not part of the Hippocratic Oath. It's from some other writings of Hippocrates, but people make this mistake all the time.
Do you know that Hippocrates literally means horsepower?
Yeah, I just got to that.
Yeah. Do you guys smoke any weed?
Not just any weed.
Not just any weed.
You could just make it something other than chlorine? I mean, maybe we will, and maybe that will be a note from our producers. I will say this. I researched the supplies available in a college football stadium And I read the Anarchist Cookbook and correlated this with real news stories about terrorist bombing attempts. And an improvised chlorine bomb is a thing, and you could get those things in a stadium. I think some people are arguing that it's not. I don't know. I'm sure that there's a real scientific reason. You're like, yeah, but it technically wouldn't work like that. And if you have the right answer, please approach us with it. But
Son has a good question. Came in late. Do you guys use any specific structures or just go where the story dictates? That's a good question, and it's going to be unhelpful that none. We use the basis of how we feel. Like, I've definitely taken a stopwatch to action movies and seen, like, okay, so first a sequence which is usually like 10 minutes or 12 minutes. What do they accomplish in this? How does it feel? Is it fast? Is it slow? What's the pacing? All these types of things. And you start to see these things start to coalesce. Michael and I have both done that work, and we didn't start from an outline. We did kind of do an outline that was like beats, but I can't even remember where I at that point.
Yes,
it was just like,
I believe that we do care.
Scene. Like, we just did like
no, but like, if you
just said this, these two scenes accomplish this.
Right, but this is. I think that's a little disingenuous only because, or let me put it this way. Yes, it's a spectrum, but if there were two types of writers, and there are, like I've met both, the writers who go like, what happens next? What happens next? Oh, that took a crazy turn I didn't expect. The characters speak to me, really. They decide what to do, and I just follow along. And there's writers who are like, no, the story is math. I think we're definitely the story is math.
People. We're math guys, yeah.
You're just saying that we've done it so many times at this point that we don't have to write out the structure beforehand, but we still adhere to it.
Right, because when we do this thing, usually we didn't do it for this film necessarily, or we just kind of talked over it. Sometimes we do something called our Fave 5, which is something that I learned in film school, which was just like, if you want to talk about like envy, talk about something like that, watch 5 movies that talk about envy. If you want to make a Die Hard movie, find 5 Die Hard movies and watch them and see what wisdom percolates. That's true. We've done that in the past, but usually for something like this, or even like a straight comedy that's just like, oh, this is just like a boy meets girl, or, you know, this is just, or as we say with Jaws, like boy meets shark, shark eats boy kind of story. Like, if we're just doing a thing that has already existed and we're just penning yet another chapter in that type of story or that story archetype, we typically just do the run-of-the-mill thing and then try to break it through the structure from above. Like, let's stick to format and then find unique ways that have, like, we find that no one else has like broken that structure or played with that system, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's kind of meta conversation about when it's just like, what's the next line, which has been what these streams have mostly been.
Right, but we don't write like
beforehand. Yeah.
There are writers who go, what's the next line? What if he said, I'm leaving for the Bahamas? And they're like, oh, this changes everything. Let's roll with it. We don't do that. Mm-hmm. We know what the ending's going to be when we start writing dialogue.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to make film like that.
I guess.
I've seen some films where I go like,
I don't
oh
really
shit,
care
that was
for
fun.
it,
but I don't usually care for it.
I
think it's
like structure a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I added the title page, and we are at 106, which is perfect. We literally have managers and producers waiting to read this, so I'll send it to them now. But we will very soon announce via our Patreon page the date and timing of a live reading of the full movie, which will include a lot of our friends, people who are good actors, and they'll be reading this to you. Dope, dude.
Dope.
Another
Dope
one in the can. Good job writing a screenplay.
Yeah, yet another.
Yet another one bites the dust.
Cool. I think that's it for the stream.
A lot of stadiums use chlorine in the cooling system for the ice surface. That's true. Yeah, that's it for the stream. All right.
Thank you
everyone for your support throughout this whole process. This is kind of anticlimactic for finishing a whole screenplay, but it's done. We're going to write another one later. Coffee in a Book says, hold on. I will give you 10 seconds, and then we're gone. You type your question, Coffee in a Book. 9, 4, 2.
What about the horse schematic? All right.
Okay, bye, motherfuckers. God damn it, coffee in a book.